Production by Liang Gu, water margin, author, Shi Nayan. In the first chapter, Master Zhang prayed for the plague, and Lieutenant Hong mistakenly walked away from the demon. The poem says, "The chicken man in crimson skirts announced the dawn, and he went into the green cloud fur with his clothes still on. The 9 heavens closed the palace. The clothes and hats of all nations worship the crown. The sun has just come and the fairy palms are moving, and the cigarette smoke is floating next to the dragon. After the court, the 5-color edict must be cut, and the sound of the sword should be returned to Fengketu. It is said that Emperor Renzong of the Song dynasty was in power. At 3 o'clock on the 3rd day of the 3rd month of Jiao's reign, the emperor sat in the Zichen Hall and received congratulations from all the officials. But see! The auspicious clouds confuse the Phoenix Pavilion, and the auspicious energy covers the Dragon Tower. The smoke-containing willows blow the flags, and the dew palace flowers greet the swords and halberds. In the shadow of Tianxiang, jade hairpins and beaded shoes gather on the ridge. Amidst the sound of fairy music, embroidered coats and brocade clothes support the emperor's chariot. The pearl curtain is rolled up, the gold chariot is on the golden palace, the phoenix tail is fanned out, and the precious chariot is stopped in front of the white jade steps. The whip sounded faintly 3 times, and the civil and military teams at all levels were in unison. At that time, a palace official shouted, "If you have something to do, please go out early. If you have nothing to do, roll up the curtain and leave the court." In the crowd, Prime Minister Zhao Zhe and political counselor Wen Yanba came out and said, "Nowadays, the plague is prevalent in the capital, and the people are in dire straits. Many soldiers and civilians were injured. I hope that your Majesty will be merciful and acquitted, save punishment and reduce taxes, so as to avoid natural disasters and save all people." After the emperor heard the recital, he urgently ordered the Hanlin Academy to issue an edict. On the one hand, he would pardon the world's criminal prisoners. All due civil taxes and taxes will be forgiven. On the other hand, he ordered to visit temples in the capital and build good deeds to avoid disasters. Unexpectedly, the plague became more severe that year. When Emperor Renzong heard about it, his body was uneasy. The officials gathered again and everyone discussed it. To that class, a minister jumped over the class to start a memorial. When the emperor looked at it, he saw Fan Zhongyan, who was involved in political affairs. Afterward, to that class, a minister jumped over the class to start a memorial. When the emperor looked at it, he saw Fan Zhongyan, who was involved in political affairs. After worshipping and going about his daily life, he wrote, "Disasters are prevalent today, the army and the people are in ruins, they are unable to make a living day and night, and people are in prison. In order to avoid this disaster, I can announce that the heavenly master of the Han dynasty will come to court at starry night and build a 3,600 cent Luo Tianjiao in the forbidden city of the capital to commemorate God, which can prevent the plague among the people. Emperor Renzong is ready to play." He urgently ordered the Hanlin scholars to draft an imperial edict. The emperor personally wrote the letter and handed down a stick of incense. The imperial envoys at home and abroad recommended Hong Xian, the Taiwei in front of the palace, as an angel and went to Longhu Mountain in Xinzhou, Jiangxi. It was announced that Zhang Zhenren, the heavenly master of the Han dynasty, would come to court at night under the stars to pray against the plague. He burned the royal incense in the Golden Palace and personally handed the Edict of Dan to Lieutenant Hong as his envoy, and set off on his journey. Hong Xian received the imperial edict and said goodbye to the emperor. "Don't dare to stop for long." The servants memorized the imperial edict, filled the gold box with royal incense, took dozens of people with them, mounted their horses, and a group of followers left Tokyo and took the route to Guishi County, Shinjo. On the road, I saw, the distant mountains are verdant. Far water is clear. Wonderful flowers bloom in the forest, and young willows dance with golden threads on the ground. The wind was gentle and the sun was warm, and we passed by Yesin Mountain Village. The road was straight and the sand was flat, and we stayed at the post office for the night. Luo ripples in the world of mortals, and horses gallop across the purple streets. Let's talk about Taiwei Hongshin and Qing Yushu Danzhao. A group of people went on the road, stayed at the postal booth at night, went to the inn in the morning, visited long distances and close places, drank and ate when they were thirsty, and arrived in Shinjo, Jiangxi province in more than one day. Officials of all sizes came out to greet him. Immediately, someone was sent to inform the abbots of the Qing Palace on Longhu Mountain that they were ready to receive the imperial edict. The next day, all the officials sent the Taiwei to the foot of Longhu Mountain. I saw many Taoists in the Shangqing Palace, ringing bells, beating drums, and lighting up incense, flowers, and candles. With banners, flags, and canopies, and a group of immortal music, they all came down from the mountain to greet Danzhao and dismounted in front of the Shangqing Palace. When the Taiwei looked at the palace, he saw a good seat in the Qing Palace. But see! The green pines are bent, and the green cypresses are gloomy. There is a gold book on the forehead of the imperial edict hanging on the door, and there are jade seal scripts on the household lists of spiritual talismans. By the Shuhuang altar, there are faintly weeping willows and famous flowers. Beside the medicine refining stove, there are green pines and old cypresses. On the left side of the wall is the powerful man Tian Ding, accompanying the true Lord Tai. On the right is the beautiful girl and the golden boy. The crowd holds Emperor Ziwei. With disheveled hair and a sword, a true martial artist from the north tramples on turtles and snakes. While wearing a pair of hats, an old man from Antarctica stalks a dragon and a tiger. The 28 star kings are in the front row, and the 32 emperors and emperors are in the back row. Water flows under the steps. Behind the walled courtyard is surrounded by mountains. Cranes have red crowns, and turtles have green hair. On the treetops there are fruit-bearing apes, and in the sedges there are sedges and white deer. The golden bell is ringing in the Sanqing Hall, and the Taoist priests are walking in vain. The jade chimes are ringing in front of the Four Saints Hall, and the real people are fighting in ceremony. The altar for offering incense is built, and the colorful rays of sunlight shine on the green glass. The altar for summoning Yao generals, the shadow of the red sun shakes the red agate. When I came early, auspicious clouds appeared outside my door. I suspected that it was the heavenly master who was sending Lao Jun off. At this moment, the abbot, the real person, and the Taoist attendants are on the bottom, greeting him from the front and guiding him from behind. Take it to the Sanqing Hall and place the edict in the center as an offering. Lieutenant Hong then asked Master Zhangong, "Where is the heavenly master now?" The abbot said forward, "Hao Jia lieutenant learned that the name of this ancestor is Master Su Jing, who has a noble nature and is tired of greeting and seeing off people, built a thatched hermitage on the top of Longhu Mountain to cultivate his nature. Therefore, I do not live in this palace." The Taiwei said, "Today the emperor has issued an edict, how can I see it?" The real person replied, "Master Su Jing, who has a noble nature and is tired of greeting and seeing off people, built a thatched hermitage on the top of Longhu Mountain to cultivate his nature. Therefore, I do not live in this palace." The Taiwei said, "Today the emperor has issued an edict, how can I see it?" The real person replied, Rong Chen. The imperial edict was enshrined in the palace, but even poor Taoists did not dare to read it. Please invite the Taiwei to offer tea to the abbot and discuss the matter later. At that time, the edict was offered to the Sanqing Hall, and all the officials went to the abbot. The Taiwei sat down in the middle. The deacons waited for the tea to be offered, then went into the almshouse to offer it, with both water and land ready. After fasting, the Taiwei asked the real person again, since the heavenly master is in the nunnery on the top of the mountain, why don't you invite me to come down to meet you and issue the edict? The real person said, Taiwei. Although the founder of this generation is on the top of the mountain, he is actually very spiritual, noble and at ease, tired of the worldly world. He can ride on the mist and raise the clouds, but his traces are uncertain and he has never yet descended from the mountain. It is rare to see poor Taoists and others as usual. How can anyone invite someone to come down? The Taiwei said, how can we see something like this? The plague is prevalent in the capital today. Today, the emperor specially sent a subordinate to serve as an envoy. He held imperial edicts and dragon incense in person, and invited the heavenly master to do 3,600 things. Divide Luo Tian Dajiao. To avoid natural disasters and relieve all people. How can this happen? The real man said, the emperor of the imperial court wants to save all the people. All he needs to do is to show some sincerity, fast and bathe, change his clothes, stop taking servants, and memorize the imperial edict himself. Burn the royal incense, walk up the mountain to worship, and kowtow to the heavenly master, only then can you see him. If your heart is not sincere, it will be hard to see if you just walk away in vain. When the Taiwei heard about it, he said, I have been a vegetarian since the capital. How can I not be sincere? Since I am so tired, I will go up the mountain tomorrow morning according to what you said. Everyone has the right to rest that night. At the 5th watch of the next day, all the Taoist priests got up and prepared the fragrant soup for worship. The Taiwei was invited to get up, bathe in the fragrant soup, and change into fresh cloth clothes. Since I am so tired, I will go up the mountain tomorrow morning according to what you said. Everyone has the right to rest that night. At the 5th watch of the next day, all the Taoist priests got up and prepared the fragrant soup for worship. The Taiwei was invited to get up, bathe in the fragrant soup, and change into fresh cloth clothes. He put on hemp shoes and straw shoes, ate vegetarian food, took the elixir, carried it on his back with a yellow baggage, held a silver stove in his hand, and burned royal incense on the ground. Many Taoists and others were sent to the back mountain to point out the path. The real man said again, the Taiwei wants to save all the people. He will give up his life and give up his regrets. He only cares about Jiqing going up. The Taiwei said goodbye to everyone, recited the treasure name of Tianzuan, and walked up the mountain. About halfway up the mountain, I saw the big top heading straight into the sky. It's really a big mountain. It's exactly. The root is wrapped around the corner of the earth, and the top is connected to the heart of heaven. From a distance, the traces of chaotic clouds are worn away, and from a close distance, the bright moon swallows its soul. The unequal heights are called mountains, the side stone passages are called xiu, and the solitary and rugged ridges are called roads. The extremely flat top is called the top, the rounded head and strong bottom are called mountains, the hidden tigers and leopards are called caves, the wind and clouds are hidden in the rocks, it is called the cave, the secluded place where the master lives is called the cave, the state and boundaries are called the mansion, and the woodcutter is haunted. Path. A road that can carry carriages and horses is called a road, the sound of flowing water is called a stream, the source of ancient crossings is called a stream, and water dripping from a rock cliff is called a spring. The left wall is a cover and the right wall is a reflection. What comes out are clouds and what comes out is fog. The tip of the cone is as small as the tip, and the ruggedness is as steep as a cliff. It seems dangerous when hanging in the air, and it looks like it is flat when it is cut. Thousands of peaks compete for beauty, and thousands of valleys contend for flow. The waterfall flies sideways and the vines hang upside down. When the tiger roars, the wind rises at the mouth of the valley. When the ape cries, the moon falls on the mountainside. Just like indigo dyed into thousands of pieces of jade, and green gauze covering thousands of piles of smoke. Lieutenant Hong walked alone for a while, turning around the slopes and climbing vines. After walking about several hills and more than 3 to 2 miles, I noticed that my feet were sore and my legs were weak, and I couldn't walk. I didn't say anything, but I was hesitant in my heart. He thought in his heart, I am a noble official of the imperial court. When I was in the capital, I lay down under the blankets, sat on the cauldron and ate, but I was still tired. How could I have ever worn straw sandals and walked on such a mountainous road? I knew that the heavenly master was there, but I taught my subordinates how to accept it. So bitter. After walking less than 30 or 50 steps, he dropped his shoulders and panted. I saw a gust of wind blowing in the valley. Wherever the wind passed, it roared like thunder behind the pine tree, and a large insect with white forehead and brocade hair jumped out. After walking less than 30 or 50 steps, he dropped his shoulders and panted. I saw a gust of wind blowing in the valley. Wherever the wind passed, it roared like thunder behind the pine tree, and a large insect with white forehead and brocade hair jumped out. Lieutenant Hong was startled and shouted, "Ah!" He looked at the ground and fell down. When I peeked at the big insect, I saw. Its fur is covered with golden color, and its claws reveal 18 silver hooks. His eyes are like lightning, his tail is like a whip, his mouth is like a basin of blood, and his teeth are like halberds. He stretches his waist and arms in a ferocious manner, swings his tail and shakes his head, making a thunderclap sound. The foxes and rabbits are all hiding in the mountains, and the roe deer are all hiding in the streams. The big insect looked at Lieutenant Hong, turned left and right, and roared once. Tuadi looked back and jumped down the hillside. Tuadi looked back and jumped down the hillside. Lieutenant Hong fell under the root of the tree. His 36 teeth were so frightened that he was fighting with each other, and his heart was like 15 buckets, rattling all over the place. But his whole body felt numb as if from a heavy wind, his legs felt like a defeated rooster, and he kept moaning in pain. When the big insect had a cup of tea, he just got up, cleaned up the incense burner on the ground, burned the dragon incense, and went up the mountain again. Be sure to find the heavenly master. After walking another 30 or 50 steps, he sighed several times and complained, "Emperor Yuqin sent me here to teach me to suffer this horror." Before I could finish, I felt another gust of wind. The poisonous gas is blown straight into the future. When the Taiwei looked intently, there was a rustle among the bamboos and vines on the mountainside, and he snatched out a snake the size of a bucket, with snowflakes that looked like snowflakes. When the Taiwei saw this, he was surprised again. He threw away the stove and shouted, "I will die now." After looking at it, he fell down beside the rock. When he opened his eyes slightly to look at the snake, he saw. He raised his head and jumped up in shock, and his eyes flashed with lightning. The turbulence caused the gorges to collapse, and the breathing blew up the clouds and mist. The scales are randomly divided into thousands of jade pieces, and a pile of silver is curled diagonally at the tip of the tail. The big snake rushed to the edge of the pan stone and formed a pile towards Lieutenant Hong. The scales are randomly divided into thousands of jade pieces, and a pile of silver is curled diagonally at the tip of the tail. The big snake rushed to the edge of the pan stone and formed a pile towards Lieutenant Hong. Its eyes burst out with golden light, it opened its huge mouth and stuck out its tongue. Spray the poisonous gas on Lieutenant Hong's face. The captain was so shocked that his 3 souls were wandering and his 7 souls were lingering. The snake looked at Lieutenant Hong once, then looked down the mountain, but it was long gone. The captain was able to get up and said, ashamed. Shocked to death. When I looked at my body, I saw that the millet seeds were bigger than the steamed buns. I scolded the Taoist priest, you are so rude, you are teasing me, and you are making me so frightened. If you can't find the heavenly master on the mountain, go down and talk to him. Then he took the silver stove, tidied himself up with the imperial edicts and clothes, and waited until he was about to go up the mountain again. Just as he was about to move, he heard the faint sound of a flute playing behind the pine trees, gradually approaching. The lieutenant looked at it intently. I saw the Taoist boy, riding an ox backwards and blowing an iron flute, coming out of the valley. When the Tai Wei looked at the Taoist boy, he saw. His hair was tied with 2 buns, he was wearing a green collar, and his waist was tied with a knot of grass. The shoes under the feet are hemp. Her bright eyes and white teeth are fluttering and not stained by dust, her green temples and beautiful face are upright and completely free from vulgarity. In the past, Lu Dongbin had a poem by a shepherd boy that said well. There are straw beds across the fields for 6 or 7 miles. The flute makes 3 or 4 sounds in the evening breeze. After returning home and having a good meal, he lay down in the moonlight without taking off his coir raincoat. I saw the Taoist boy, riding an ox with a smile and playing the iron flute, coming over the mountain. Lieutenant Hong met. Then he called the Taoist boy, where are you from? Do you recognize me? The Taoist boy didn't care and just played the flute. The Tai Wei asked several times, and the Taoist boy laughed loudly. He pointed at Tai Wei Hong with an iron flute and said, come here. Do you really want to see the heavenly master? The captain was shocked and said, you are a shepherd boy. How did you know that? The Taoist boy laughed and said, I was serving the heavenly master in the thatched hut in the morning, and I heard the heavenly master say, the Emperor Renzong is the emperor in the court. I sent Lieutenant Hong to come to the mountains with the danjiao and the incense, and announced that I would go to Tokyo to make a 3,600 cent luo tianjiao to pray for the plague in the world. Now I ride on a crane and ride on the clouds. I think it will be gone sooner or later. Not in the nunnery. You go up there, there are so many poisonous insects and ferocious beasts in the mountain, they may hurt your life. The Tai Wei asked again, don't lie? The Taoist boy laughed, didn't respond, and turned around the hillside while playing the iron flute. The Tai Wei thought, how did this little boy know all about this? I think it was the heavenly master who assigned it to him, so he must have done it. He wanted to go up the mountain again, but he was so frightened that he lost his life in the fight, so he had to go down the mountain. Just go. The Tai Wei took the stove and ran down the mountain again to find the old road. The Taoist priests then asked the abbot to sit down. The Tai Wei took the stove and ran down the mountain again to find the old road. The Taoist priests then asked the abbot to sit down. The real man then asked the Tai Wei, "Have you ever seen the Heavenly Master?" The Tai Wei said, "I am a noble official in the imperial court. How can you teach me how to walk on a mountainous road? After all the hard work, I lost my life fighting for it. How can you teach me how to walk on a mountainous road? After all the hard work, I lost my life fighting for it." Halfway up the mountain, a large, eye-catching white-fronted insect jumped out, shocking the lower official to the point of losing his soul. But when they couldn't reach a mountain pass, they snatched out a large snowflake snake from the bamboo canes and coiled themselves into a pile, blocking the way. But when they couldn't reach a mountain pass, they snatched out a large snowflake snake from the bamboo canes and coiled themselves into a pile, blocking the way. If I hadn't been so lucky, how could I have survived and returned to Beijing? It's all you, the Taoists, who are teasing this official. The real man replied, "How dare a poor Taoist to despise the minister? This is the intention of the founder to test the Tai Wei. Although there are snakes and tigers in this mountain, they will not hurt people." The Tai Wei said again, "I can't walk, so I want to go up again." Hillside. I saw a Taoist boy coming out of the pine tree, riding an ox and playing an iron flute, coming over the mountain. I asked him, "Do you know me from there?" He said, "I already know everything." He said that the Heavenly Master would pay for it. In the morning, I rode a crane in the clouds and looked at Tokyo. The official came back because of this. The real person said, "It's a pity that the captain missed it. This shepherd boy is the Heavenly Master." In the morning, I rode a crane in the clouds and looked at Tokyo. The official came back because of this. The real person said, "It's a pity that the captain missed it. This shepherd boy is the Heavenly Master." The Tai Wei said, "Since he is a Heavenly Master, how can he be so obscene?" The real person replied, "This generation of Heavenly Masters is no small matter. Although they are young, they are actually very good. He is an extra person who manifests in all directions and is extremely efficacious. Everyone in the world calls him the Patriarch Daotong." Tai Wei Hong said, "I have always been so ignorant that I did not recognize the true master, and I missed him in person." The real person said, "Please don't worry, Tai Wei. Since the founder's decree has gone, by the time the Tai Wei returns to the capital, this wedding ceremony will be over for all the ancestors." When the Tai Wei heard this, he was relieved. The real person taught how to arrange a banquet and take care of the Tai Wei. "Please put the edict in the imperial book box and leave it in the Shangqing Palace." The dragon incense was burned in the Sanqing Palace. When the Tai Wei heard this, he was relieved. The real person taught how to arrange a banquet and take care of the Tai Wei. "Please put the edict in the imperial book box and leave it in the Shangqing Palace." The dragon incense was burned in the Sanqing Palace. On that day, the abbot had a large array of food offerings and a banquet. "Let's have dinner in the evening and stay overnight until dawn." After breakfast the next day, the real Taoist priests and some deacons invited the Tai Wei to visit the mountain. The Tai Wei was overjoyed. Many people followed. Walking out of the abbot, the two Taoist boys in front led the way to the front and back of the palace, where we could see many sights. In the Sanqing Palace, the wealth and honor are indescribable. Under the left corridor, there are Jiutian Palace, Ziwei Palace, and Arctic Palace. Under the right corridor, there are Tai Palace, the Hall of Three Officials and the Hall of Exorcism. After looking through all the palaces, we walked to the place behind the right corridor. When Tai Wei Hong looked at it, he saw another palace, walls made of pepper-red mud, 2 vermilion doors on the front. The door is locked with a big arm lock, and there are more than 10 seals affixed to the cross, and the seals are overlapping with red seals. There is a vermilion lacquer gold plate in front of the eaves, with 4 gold characters written on it, which reads, "The Palace of Conquering Demons." Tai Wei pointed at the door and said, "Where is this palace?" The real person replied, "This is the palace where the ancestor of the Heavenly Master locked the Demon King." The Tai Wei asked again, "Why are there so many covers on top of each other?" The real person replied, "This is the ancestral master Tang Dongxian who has blocked the devil here." However, it is said that a generation of heavenly masters added a seal with their own hands, so that their descendants will not dare to open it rashly. It would be very beneficial to have the Demon King gone. Today, the 8 or 9 generations of ancestors have vowed not to open it. The lock is cast with copper liquid, who knows what's inside? Xiao Dao Jilai has been the abbot of this palace for more than 30 years. I only heard about it. After hearing this, Lieutenant Hong was surprised and thought, "Let me try to see the devil." Then he said to the real person, "Open the door and let me see what the devil looks like." The real man said, "Captain, I will never dare to open this palace." The ancestral heavenly master warned, "From now on, no one is allowed to open it without permission." The Tai Wei laughed and said, "Nonsense. You want to do weird things, incite good people, and deliberately arrange this place to pretend to be the Demon King of Lockdown. Show off your Taoism. I read a book called Yi Jian, but I never saw the method of locking demons. Show off your Taoism. I read a book called Yi Jian, but I never saw the method of locking demons. The way of gods and ghosts lies in the underworld, and I don't believe there is a devil in it. Quickly open it to me, let me see what the devil is like." The real man reported 3 times and 5 times, "This hall cannot be opened, for fear of causing harm to others." The Tai Wei was furious, pointed at the Taoists and said, "If you can't wait to open it, let me see it. Return to the court and report it first. You Taoists are trying to stop me from proclaiming the edict. I am a criminal who violates the imperial decree and does not allow me to see the heavenly master. Later, you and others set up this palace privately, pretending to be the Demon King of Lockdown, and inciting the soldiers and civilians. I have chased you all with an ultimatum and sent you to the far evil military state to suffer." The real person and others were afraid of the Tai Wei's power, so they had to call a few Taoist priests to come over. They first took off the seal and used the hammer to open the big lock. Everyone pushed the door open and looked inside. It was dark, but they saw. Dim and silent. Check it out. The sun has not been seen for hundreds of years, and the moon's shadow has been hard to see for hundreds of millions of years. How can we tell the difference between north and south? The black smoke and mist make people feel cold, and the cold air invades the body and trembles. Where there are no human beings, there is a place where fairies come and go. Averting one's eyes is like being blind, stretching out one's hands without seeing the palm. It's like 30 nights, but it's like the 5th watch. Everyone came to the temple together. It was dark and nothing could be seen. Tai Wei taught him to take dozens of torches from people and light them. When I took a photo in the future, there was nothing else on the 4 sides, except for a stone tablet in the center, about 5 or 6 feet high, with a stone turtle sitting underneath, half sunk in the mud. When I look at the stele, I can see that there are dragon seals, phoenix seals and celestial scripts in front of it. No one knows it. When I looked behind the steel, I saw a large calligraphy with real characters, which read, "Open in case of flood." But it was not just that the Tiangang star was born at the same time, that the Song dynasty would definitely show its loyalty, and that it happened to meet Hong Xian. Isn't it the number of days? Tai Wei Hong was overjoyed after reading these 4 words, and said to the real person, "You are trying to stop me, but how come you have written my surname here hundreds of years ago?" Open when encountering floods clearly means to teach me how to open, look. But why not? I think this devil is only under the stone monument. You and I will call a few more pyrotechnicians to dig out with hose and shovels. The real man hurriedly admonished, "Captain, don't dig it. It may be beneficial. It is not appropriate to harm others." The Tai Wei was furious and shouted, "What will you save by waiting for the Taoists? It is clearly written on the monument that, I will teach you how to open it. How can you stop it? Come and call me quickly." The real person reported again 3 and 5 times. There may be something wrong. The Tai Wei was willing to listen. He had to gather everyone, put down the stone tablet first, and work together to dig out the stone turtle. It took half a day to dig up. Then he dug down, about 3 or 4 feet deep, and saw a large blue stone slab. It can be surrounded by the abbot. Lieutenant Hong ordered them to dig again. The real man said bitterly, "Don't dig it." The Tai Wei was willing to listen. Everyone had to pick up the stone slabs and watch the time. Under the stone slab is a deep underground cave. I saw a loud scratching sound inside the cave. The sound was extraordinary, just like, "The sky is shattered and the earth is falling, the mountains are shaking and the mountains are collapsing." On the Qiantang River, the tide surges out of the sea. On the top of Taihua Mountain, the giant spirit god split the mountain into pieces. Gong was so angry that he took off his helmet and knocked down Buzhou Mountain. The powerful man used his power and smashed the first emperor's chariot with flying hammers. One wind shakes thousands of bamboo poles, and 100,000 troops are struck by thunder in the middle of the night. Wherever the loud sound passed, a black air was seen rolling up from the hole, knocking down half of the corner of the palace. The black energy rushed straight up for half the sky, and hundreds of golden lights scattered in the sky, looking in all directions. Everyone was startled, shouted, and all left, leaving behind their hoes and shovels. They all ran out of the palace, knocking down and turning over countless people. Lieutenant Hong was so shocked that his eyes were wide open and he was confused. His face was as pale as dirt. "Run to the corridor." I saw the real person moving forward and complaining endlessly. The Tai Wei asked, "What kind of demon is gone?" The real man could not tell the reason in more than a few words or a single speech. Yufengio, once an emperor, he has trouble sleeping at night. Forget meals during the day. There are fierce tigers hiding in Wanzi City, and flying dragons gathering in Liaoerwa. After all, Master Longhushan said many words. Let's listen to the explanation next time. In the second episode, Coach Wang smuggled away to Yan'an Mansion. 9 patterned dragons make a big fuss in Shijia village. The poem says, "Once the eternal secret gate is opened, the evil spirits of Tiangang and Earth will come out of the spring platform. Since nothing happens, many troubles arise. The intention is to avoid disasters, but they cause disasters. From now on, the country is disturbed by clouds, and wars are raging everywhere." Although Gao Qiu is a traitor and a sycophant, Hong Xian will be in trouble from now on. It is said that the abbot Jinren said to Tai Wei Hong at that time, "I don't know, but the ancestral master Dongxian Jinren in this hall originally handed down the talisman and told him. There are 36 Tiangang stars and 72 earthly evil stars locked up in this hall, a total of 108 demon lords inside. There is a stone tablet erected on it, with dragon seals, phoenix seals and heavenly talismans chiseled on it to stay here. If he were still allowed to be born, it will surely annoy the creatures below. Now that the Tai Wei has let him go, what will happen? It will be a disaster in the future." After hearing this, Tai Wei Hong was covered in cold sweat and couldn't stop shaking. He packed his luggage hurriedly, led his followers, and went down the mountain back to Beijing. The real person and the Taoists had finished sending him off to the palace and returned to the palace to repair the palace and erect stone tablets. Besides, Lieutenant Hong was distributing his servants on the road and teaching them how to ward off demons. Don't let outsiders know about it. I'm afraid the emperor will find out and be blamed. Without saying anything on the road, we returned to the capital at starry night. After entering Bianliang City, I heard what people said. The Heavenly Master did good deeds for 7 days and nights in the forbidden city of Tokyo. He distributed talismans and cured diseases, and the plague was eliminated. The military and civilians are at peace. The Heavenly Master resigned from the court, rode on a crane in the clouds, and returned to Longhu Mountain. Tai Wei Hong went to court early the next day, met with the emperor, and reported, "The Heavenly Master rode on a crane and rode on the clouds, and arrived at the capital first. I waited for the post to arrive before I got this." Renzong approved the report, rewarded Hong Xian, and restored him to his old position. Later, Emperor Renzong reigned for 42 years without a prince. The throne was passed to the son of Puan Yi Wang Yunrang and the grandson of Emperor Taizu. The emperor's title was Yingzong. After reigning for 4 years, he passed the throne to Prince Shenzong. In the 18th year of his reign, Emperor Zhezong ascended the throne. At that time, everything in the world was peaceful and there was nothing happening in all directions. Let's talk about the Xuanwu army in Bianliang, Kaifeng Prefecture, Tokyo. He was a son of Fulangpo settled down. His surname was Gao and he was ranked second. He had no family business since he was a child, so he had to use spears and sticks. He was very good at playing football. The capital's population is smooth. He is not called the sophomore in high school, but he is called the senior high school student. Later, when he became successful, he removed the character Qi Zhuan from Mao Bang, added Li Ren, and changed his surname to Gao Mingqiu. This man plays the piano, sings and dances, stabs with a spear, wields a stick, and plays sumo wrestling. He is quite good at poetry, calligraphy and poetry, but he is not good at talking about benevolence, justice, etiquette, wisdom, trust and conduct, and loyalty. He only helps out in Tokyo and outside the city. Because he helped the son of a pig iron king to make money, he earned 3 watts and 2 houses a day, and was very happy. His father filed a complaint in Kaifeng Mansion. Fu Yin broke Gao Qiu's staff with 40 spines and distributed it out of bounds one after another. The people in Tokyo did not allow him to stay and eat at home. Gao Qiu was at a loss what to do. He had no choice but to come to Huaishi and Lanhuazu to seek refuge with Lu Dalong, an idle man named Lu Shiquan who ran a gambling house. Throughout his life, he was devoted to cherishing guests and raising idle people, and recruiting men from all over the world. Gao Qiu took refuge in Lu Dalong's family. Lived for 3 years. Later, Emperor Zhezong felt that the weather was good because he paid homage to the southern suburbs, so he relaxed his kindness and granted amnesty to the world. Gao Qiu was in Linhui Prefecture. He was homesick and wanted to return to Tokyo because he had received pardon for the criminals. Lu Shiquan, however, was related to General Dong, who ran a medicine shop under the Jinliang Bridge in Tokyo. He wrote a letter to clear up some personnel troubles, and sent Gao Qiu back to Tokyo to live with General Dong. At that time, Gao Qiu resigned from Lu Dalong, packed his parcel, left Linhui Prefecture, and meandered back to Tokyo. He came to Dong Xingyao's house in Jinliang and wrote this letter. When General Dong saw Gao Qiu, he read the letter from Lu Shiquan. He thought to himself, "This Gao Qiu, how can I accommodate him in my family? If he is a sincere and honest person, he can be allowed to come and go at home, and he can also teach the children to learn good things. But he is a helper in a poor household. Those who have no faith, and those who have committed crimes in the past and were disowned by Kaifeng Mansion and left the country. If you stay at home, it will make the children not learn well. If you can't take him in, you can't ignore Lu Dalong's face." At that time, we had no choice but to live happily together, staying at home for the night, drinking and eating every day. After staying for more than 10 days, General Dong thought about a reason, took out a set of clothes, wrote a letter, and said to Gao Qiu, "The light of the fireflies under the little man's house does not shine on people, and I am afraid that I will make a mistake in the future. I recommended that I be with Bachelor Su, and soon I got a good background. How do you feel about taking this step?" Gao Qiu was overjoyed and thanked General Dong. General Dong personally wrote a letter and led Gao Qiu to the bachelor's residence. The doorman reported to Bachelor Su that he came out to see Gao Qiu. After reading the letter, he realized that Gao Qiu was originally a helper of Xian Fulang, so he thought to himself, "How can I accommodate him here? How can I accommodate him here? It would be better to do a favor and recommend him to the palace of Prince Consort Jin Qing as a personal follower. People call him the Little King's Captain, and they like this kind of person." At that time, I returned the letters from General Dong and left Gao Qiu to stay in the house for one night. The next day, he wrote a letter and asked someone to send Gao Qiu to the prefect of the small king's capital. This Tai Wei is the brother-in-law of Emperor Zhezong, Emperor Shenzong's consort. He loves romantic people and uses such people. I was delighted when I saw that academician Xiao Su had sent a letter to Gao Qiu to pay homage to him. Then he wrote back a letter. He took Gao Qiu in as a personal attendant in his house. From then on, Gao Qiu lived in Wang Dui's mansion, coming in and out like a family member. It has been said since ancient times, the sun is far away and the sun is sparse, the sun is close and the sun is close. Suddenly one day, the Prince of Xiao Wangdu celebrated his birthday. He arranged a banquet in the palace and invited his brother-in-law to serve the king. This King Duan is the 11th son of Emperor Shenzong and the younger brother of Emperor Zhezong. He is in charge of the East and ranks among the 9 kings. He is a smart and handsome man. There is nothing that ordinary people do not understand, do not know how to do, and there is nothing that they do not love. He also plays piano, chess, calligraphy, painting, Confucianism, Buddhism and Taoism, and is knowledgeable in everything. Playing football and playing bombs, tasting bamboo and stringing silk, playing music and singing and dancing. Needless to say, on that day, A banquet was prepared in Wang Dui's mansion, and everything was prepared by land and water. But see! Incense is burned on the tripod, and flowers are placed in golden vases. Xianyin Academy competes to play new sounds, and Jiaofang Si frequently shows off his wonderful skills. The crystal pot is filled with purple nectar. The amber cup is filled with Yaoqi jade liquid. Tortoise-shell plates are piled with peaches and exotic fruits, and glass bowls are filled with bear paws and camel hooves. The scales and scales are cut into silver threads, and the jade pistols are cooked in tea. The dancing girl in the red skirt plays the flute like a wan, the singer with green sleeves. The clusters hold dragons, shengs, and phoenix tubes. In front of 2 rows of pearls and emerald green stairs, a group of music performers came to their seats. Let's say that this time the king came to the palace of the king to have a banquet. The captain set up a banquet and asked King Duan to sit in the middle. The captain sat across the table to accompany him. After several glasses of wine and 2 servings of food, the king stood up and washed his hands. Occasionally, I came to the academy for a short break and suddenly saw a pair of paperweight lions made of crushed mutton fat jade on the desk. They were extremely well made, delicate and exquisite. King Duan picked up the lion, looked at it without letting go, and said, "Okay." Seeing that King Duan loved it, Captain Wang Duan said, "There is another jade dragon penholder, which was also made by this craftsman, but it is not at hand. Tomorrow get it. Send them together." King Duan said with great joy, "Thank you very much for your kindness. I think that pen holder must be even better." Wang Dui said, "Take it out tomorrow and see you in the palace." Prince Duan thanked him again. The 2 of them continued to sit down and enjoy the banquet. In the evening, when you are completely drunk, you will disperse. King Duan said goodbye and returned to the palace. The next day, the young prince took out the jade dragon penholder and 2 paperweights and jade lions, put them in a small gold box, and wrapped them in a yellow baggage. He wrote a letter to submit, but asked Gao Qiu to send it. Gao Qiu received the decree from Wang Duwei-jun, took 2 jade utensils, put a letter in his arms, and walked directly to the palace. Report to the court official from the gate official. Not long after, the duke came out and asked, "Which palace are you from?" Gao Qiu saluted and replied, "I am from the palace of the king's consort, and I have sent jade toys to the king." The duke said, "Your highness is in the heart of the court. Kick the balloon with the little yellow door. You have passed." Gao Qiu said, "I'll introduce it to you." The court official led him to the front of the court. When Gao Qiu took a look, he saw King Duan wearing a soft gauze tang scarf on his head and a purple embroidered dragon robe. His waist was tied with a double tassel of civil and military tassels. He tied up the front of the embroidered dragon robe. He wears a pair of flying phoenix boots inlaid with gold thread. There are 3 or 5 small yellow doors, accompanied by CU balloons. Gao Qiu did not dare to rush over and stood behind the servant to wait on him. It was also Gao Qiu. He wears a pair of flying phoenix boots inlaid with gold thread. There are 3 or 5 small yellow doors, accompanied by CU balloons. Gao Qiu did not dare to rush over and stood behind the servant to wait on him. It was also Gao Qiu who made his fortune. When the time came, the balloon rose up into the air, and Duan Wang could not catch it. It rolled straight to Gao Qiu in the crowd of people. When Gao Qiu saw the balloon coming, he was brave enough to kick Duan Wang back. King Duan was overjoyed when he saw it, and asked, "Who are you?" Gao Qiu knelt forward and said, "The younger one is personally accompanied by Wang Duwei, who was ordered by the Easterners to bring 2 kinds of jade objects. I present this book to you, Your Majesty." After hearing this, King Duan smiled and said, "Brother-in-law is so worried." Gao Qiu took out the book and presented it to the emperor. King Duan opened the box and looked at the toys. He handed them all to the waiting officer and took them away. King Duan ignored the whereabouts of the jade artifact. But first he asked Gao Qiu, "You know how to kick balloons. What are you calling me for?" Gao Qiu crossed his hands and knelt down and said, "The younger one is called Gao Qiu. How many kicks does who have?" King Duan said, "Okay. You can let's play some football next time." Gao Qiu said, "What kind of person is this young man who dares to mess with King An?" King Duan said, "This is Qian society, and its name is Tianxiawen, but it won't hurt if you kick it." Gao Qiu bowed again and said, "How dare you? I said goodbye 3 times and 5 times. King Duan definitely wanted him to play. Gao Qiu had no choice but to kowtow and apologize, and then died. After just a few kicks, King Duan applauded. Gao Qiu had to use all his skills to flatter King Duan. The identity looks like the balloon is stuck to the body like swim bladder glue. King Duan was overjoyed. He was willing to let Gao Qiu go back to his palace, so he stayed in the palace for the night. The next day, a banquet was arranged, and the king and captain were specially invited to the palace to attend the banquet. But he said that Captain Wang did not see Gao Qiu come back that night. When I was in doubt, I saw a report from the disciples the next day. The 9 kings sent people to deliver the order and invited the Tai Wei to come to the palace for a banquet. Wang Duwei came. When I was in doubt, I saw a report from the disciples the next day. The 9 kings. He dismounted and entered the palace to see King Duan. King Duan was overjoyed and thanked the 2 jade utensils. During the banquet, King Duan said, "This Gao Qiu is a good kicker. I want to ask this person to be my personal attendant. How about it?" Wang Duwei replied, "Since His Highness has used this person, he will stay in the palace to serve His Highness." Prince Duan liked it and thanked him with a cup. The 2 chatted for a while, and when the dinner was over, Wang Duwei went back to the prince consort's mansion without further ado. It is said that King Duan stayed in the palace for food and accommodation since he asked Gao Qiu to be his companion. From then on, Gao Qiu encountered King Duan and followed him every day, never leaving. However, within 2 months of being in the palace, Emperor Zhizong came to Yanjia. There is no prince. The civil and military officials discussed and appointed Prince Duan as the emperor, and the emperor was named Huizong, who was the leader of Yuqing, Wei Daojun. After taking the throne, nothing happened. Suddenly one day, he said to Gao Qiu, "I want to promote you, but you can only be promoted if you have some merit. The Privy Council first teaches you that you are just a person who moves with you." In less than half a year, Gao Qiu was promoted to the post of Tai Wei in the palace commander's palace. Let us also say that Gao Qiu became the Tai Wei of the palace commander's mansion and chose an auspicious day to take up his post in the palace commander's mansion. All the officials, generals, military guards, and people on horseback came to pay homage and each presented his manuscript. The flower names are announced. The commander-in-chief Gao Dianhui paid one by one, and he only owed Wang Jin, the instructor of the 800,000-strong Forbidden Army. Half a month ago, he was already ill and had been in the government for a long time. He had not recovered from his illness and had never been in charge of the government office. The commander-in-chief Gao Dian was furious and shouted, "Nonsense! Now that the manuscript has been presented, it is not that guy who resists the government and prevaricates his subordinates. This person is suffering from an illness at home. Bring it to me quickly." Immediately sent people to Wang Jin's house to arrest Wang Jin. It is said that this Wang Jin has no wife, only an old mother, who is over 60 years old. Wang Jin, the leader and coach, said, "Now that Gao Dianshui has taken office, I can't order you." The military chief reported that Ran is at home. "I see a sick person in the official office. Gao Dianshui is anxious. If you believe it, he will definitely take you. He just thinks that the teacher is pretending to be ill at home." The coach had to go for a walk. "If you don't go, everyone will be affected, even villains are guilty." After Wang Jin heard this, he had no choice but to come in despite his illness. After Wang Jin heard this, he had no choice but to come in despite his illness. He entered the palace of the commander-in-chief, met the Tai Wei, bowed 4 times, bowed and sang a song, and stood aside. Wang Jin reported, "You are a villain." Gao Qiu shouted, "This guy. Your father is a flower stick and sells medicine in the market. What kind of martial arts do you have? The former official has no eyesight. How about joining you as a teacher? If you dare to underestimate me, don't look down upon me. Whose influence do you rely on to cure the disease and stay at home and be happy?" Wang Jin complained, "How dare you, a villain! In fact, the disease has not been cured." Lieutenant Gao scolded, "Thieves join the army. If you are sick, how do you get it?" Wang Jin said again, "The Tai Wei is calling. And dare not come." The commander-in-chief Gao Dian was furious and ordered everyone around to teach him to capture Wang Jin. "Gather your strength and fight this guy with me. And dare not come." The commander-in-chief Gao Dian was furious and ordered everyone around to teach him to capture Wang Jin. "Gather your strength and fight this guy with me." Many of the Tooth generals were good friends with Wang Jin, so they had no choice but to complain to the military chief. "Today is a good day for the Tai Wei to take office, so I can exempt this person this time." Lieutenant Gao shouted, "You are a thief in the army. Let's look at the generals. I will forgive your offense today, but I will ignore you tomorrow." Wang Jin apologizes. When he got up and looked up, he recognized Gao Qiu. When he came out of the yamen, he sighed and said, "My life is in danger now. I thought he was a high-ranking commander, but it turned out that he was the second-year high school student of Yuanxi, a gangster in Tokyo. Bixin once learned how to use a stick, but was knocked down by my father with a stick. He will not be able to rest for 3 or 4 months, and he has this hatred. He has become rich today and has to be appointed as the commander-in-chief of the palace. He is about to take revenge. I don't want to be in his charge. Since ancient times. Don't be afraid of officials, just be afraid of management. How can I fight with him? What should I do?" When I returned home, I was very depressed. When I told my mother that I knew this, the mother and son held their heads and cried. My mother said, "My son is 36 and walking is the best. I'm afraid there's nowhere to go." Wang Jin said, "Mother is right." The son thought about it and thought about it in the same way. Only the old official of Yan'an Prefecture, Mr. Zongjinglo, guarded the side court, and many of his officers had been to the capital. Many people love their sons so much that they use their guns and clubs. Why not run away and join them? It is a place where people can live and work. My wife and I decided to go together. His mother said again, "My son, I want to go privately with you. I'm afraid the 2 card soldiers in front of the door were sent by the palace commander's palace to wait on you. If he learns of it, he will not be able to escape." Wang Jin said, "It doesn't matter. Don't worry, mother, your son will deal with him in his own right. It's still dark at the moment." Wang Jin first called Zhang Pai in and said, "You have some dinner first, and I'll send you to work somewhere." Zhang Pai said, "Where will the instructor go?" Wang Jin said, "I was sick the day before yesterday. I made a wish to burn incense in the Yu temple outside the Jujube gate, and I will burn incense sticks tomorrow morning. You can go first tonight, distribute the temple blessings, and teach him to open some temple doors early the next day. When I come to burn incense sticks, I will sacrifice 3 animals to King Lu and Li. Just rest in the temple and wait for me." Zhang Pai agreed, had dinner first, called for accommodation, and went to the temple. That night, the mother and son packed up their luggage and clothes, and made a load of silver. He also put 2 bags of materials on the camel and tied them to the horse. When the sky was still dark at the 5th watch, Wang Jin called Li Pai and said, "You and I will take these silver coins and go to the Yu temple to buy 3 animals and cook them with Zhang Pai. Wait there. I'll buy some paper candles and come later." Li Pai took the silver and went back to the temple. Wang Jin went and prepared the horse, led it out of the back trough, put the bag of materials on the camel, tied the rope firmly, and led it outside the back door. Fu Niang got on the horse. "I threw away all the heavy items in the house, locked the front and back doors, picked up a load, and followed the horse. Taking advantage of the dark weather at the 5th watch, I took advantage of the situation and left Shihua Gate, taking the road to Yan'an Mansion. Let's say that the 2 Pai soldiers bought blessings and cooked them. When they waited at the temple for Si Pai, they did not come. Li Pai was anxious. When he walked back home to look for it, he saw that the door was locked. There was no way in either direction, and after searching for a long time, no one was seen. Looking at the cards that night, I was suspicious of the cards in the Yu temple, so I rushed home and spent the evening looking for Li cards. It was getting dark, and they saw that he didn't come back that night, and his mother was missing. The next day, the 2 Pai Jun went to visit his relative's house again, but found him nowhere. The 2 of them were afraid of getting involved, so they had to go to the palace commander's mansion to report, "Teacher Wang has abandoned his home and is on the run, and his parents are nowhere to be found." Captain Gao informed him and said angrily, "The thieves in the army are on the run, let's see where they go." Immediately he took down the documents and went to all the prefectures to capture Wang Jin, the fugitive army. "The thieves in the army are on the run, let's see where they go." Immediately he took down the documents and went to all the prefectures to capture Wang Jin, the fugitive army. The 2 of them were the first to report, so that they could be exempted from the blame. Let's talk about the mother and son of Wang Jiaodong. Since leaving Tokyo, I have not been hungry or thirsty on the road. I have stayed at night and traveled at dawn, and have been on the road for more than a month. Suddenly one day, when it was getting late, Wang Jin followed his mother's horse with a load, and said to his mother, "God is pitiful, I am ashamed that my son and my mother have escaped from this snare. We are not far from Yan'an Mansion now, and Captain Gao wants to send someone to take it, but I can't take it. Both mother and son are happy. I accidentally missed Sudu on the way. After walking all night, I didn't come across a village. Where would I go to stay? Just as he was paying no attention, he saw a light flashing in the woods in the distance. Wang Jin looked at it and said, "All right." Jamal went there to stay with her for one night and leave early tomorrow. When I turned into the forest to take a look, I saw that it was a large villa. It was surrounded by earthen walls, but there were 200 to 300 large willow trees outside the walls. Looking at the courtyard, I can see the front is connected to the official road, and the back is close to the creek. The willows are green all around, and the trees all around are green. The high thatched cottage is built according to the Wuyun villa. The low pavilion is built directly against the mountain and near the water. The ground is full of sheep and cattle in Zunwujio, and there are flocks of geese and ducks in the wheat field. The countryside is vast, and there are thousands of servants and guests. The family is magnificent, and there are countless maids and children. It is exactly this: the family has enough food to feed its chickens and dogs, and the household has many books and virtuous descendants. At that time, Teacher Wang came to the village and knocked on the door for a long time, only to see a guest coming out. Wang Jin put down his burden and saluted him. The villager asked, "What do you want to do when you come to the village?" Wang Jin replied, "I'm telling you the truth." The villain, his son and his mother, had traveled some distance and missed their hotel. When I came here, I went to Buba village in front and Buba Dian in the back. I wanted to stay in your village for a night and leave early tomorrow. Pay the rent as per the rules. Everything is comprehensive and convenient. Zhuangke said, "In that case, wait a moment. I will ask the owner of the village, Taigong, if you are willing, but you might as well rest." Wang Jin said again, "It's convenient, brother." After Zhuangke went in for a long time, he came out and said, "Master of the village, Taigong teaches you two to come in." Wang Jin asked his mother to get off the horse. Wang Jin carried the burden and led the horse. He followed the village guest to the threshing field, rested the burden, and tied the horse to a willow tree. The mother and son came up to the thatched cottage to see the Grand Duke. The Taigong was nearly 60 years old, with white beard and hair. He wore a dust-proof warm hat, a straight-seam wide shirt, a soap silk ribbon tied around his waist, and well-made leather boots. Wang Jin bowed to him when he saw him. Taigong said quickly, "Guests, please stop paying homage and please get up." The Taigong was nearly 60 years old, with white beard and hair. He wore a dust-proof warm hat, a straight-seam wide shirt, a soap silk ribbon tied around his waist, and well-made leather boots. Wang Jin bowed to him when he saw him. Taigong said quickly, "Guests, please stop paying homage and please get up. You are travelers, you have toiled and endured hardships, so please sit down for a moment." Wang Jin, mother and son, finished saying the ceremony and sat down. The Grand Duke asked, "Where are you from? How come you got here so late?" Wang Jin replied, "The villain's surname is Zhang. He was originally from the capital, but now that his capital has been wiped out and he has nothing to use, he is going to Yan'an Mansion to seek refuge with his relatives. I didn't want to miss the hotel because I was too busy on the road today. He was originally from the capital, but now that his capital has been wiped out and he has nothing to use, he is going to Yan'an Mansion to seek refuge with his relatives. I didn't want to miss the hotel. The rent will be paid as per the regulations." Tai Gongdao, "It doesn't matter. People in the world today are walking with their houses on their backs. You, mother and son, Dare not start a fire? Ask the banker to arrange a meal. Not long after, a table was set up in the hall. The banker brought out a bucket of plates, 4 vegetables and a plate of beef, and placed them on the table. First, sift the wine. Tai Gong said, "We don't treat each other very well in the village, so don't be surprised." Wang Jin stood up and thanked him. Young man, son and mother, disturb each other for no reason. It is hard to repay this kindness. Tai Gongdao, don't say that, and please have a drink. At the same time, he ordered 5 or 7 glasses of wine, brought out the food, and the 2 of them ate and cleared the dishes. The grandpa got up and led Wang Jin, his wife, and his wife to the guest room to rest. Wang Jin said, "The little man's mother is riding on the head, and I have trouble to take care of it. I beg for fodder and pay it back." Tai Gongdao said, "It doesn't matter. I also have mules and horses in my family. I teach the villagers to take them to the back trough. Send feeding. Don't worry about fodder either." Wang Jin thanked him and took the load to the guest room. The guest lit the lamp and brought some soup to wash his feet. The grandfather went back inside. Wang Jin, his mother and his wife thanked the guest. "Close the door, pack up and rest." The next day, I slept until dawn and didn't get up. The owner of the village, Grand Duke, came to the guest room and heard Wang Jin's mother and son calling in the room. The Taigong asked, "My guest, Xiao Xiao, has recovered." Wang Jin heard this. He hurriedly came out of the room and saw his grandpa saluting him and said, "I've been up for a long time, little man. It's very inappropriate to disturb me at night." The grandpa asked, "Who calls you like that?" Wang Jin said, "To be honest, my grandpa said that my mother is poised on horseback. Tired. I felt sick last night." Tai Gongdao said, "In that case, guests should not worry. Teach your mother to stay in my village for a few days. I have a prescription for treating distress, so I asked Zhuangku to go to the county to collect the medicine. Eat with your old mother. Teach him to rest assured and take his breath slowly." Wang Jin thanked him. He said no more. From then on, Wang Jin, his son and his mother took medicine at Taigong Manor. After staying there for 5 or 7 days, he felt that his mother had recovered from her illness. Wang Jin packed up and left. That day, I came to the back trough to look at the horses. I saw a young man in the open space, with his shirt off and a green dragon tattooed all over his body. The silver plate also looked like a doe. He was about 18 or 19 years old. He was wielding a stick. Wang Jin looked at it for a long time and said unconsciously, "This stick is good. It just has flaws and cannot win against a real hero." The young man was furious and shouted, "Who are you? You dare to laugh at my ability? I have gone through 7 or 8 famous masters. If I don't believe it, it's better than you. Do you dare to cross paths with me?" Before he could finish talking, the Grand Duke arrived and shouted to the young man, "Don't be rude." The young man said, "This guy is laughing at my stick skills." Tai Gongyi said, "Can the guest know how to use a gun or a stick?" Wang Jin said, "I know quite a bit. I dare to ask the superior, who is this descendant in the house?" Tai Gong said, "He is the old man's son." Wang Jin said, "Since he is a minor official in the house, if he likes to learn, how about the villain teaching him to behave properly?" Tai Gongdao said, "It's very good when I'm lying on the ground. Then he taught the younger generation to come and worship the master. If the younger generation was willing to worship, he became angrier and said in his heart, "Dad, don't listen to this guy's nonsense. If he wins my stick by eating him, I will worship him as my teacher." Wang Jin said, "If a small official is not in the village, he will play tricks with his sticks. Then the descendants will live in the open space." He turned a stick like a windmill and said to Wang Jin, "Come here. Come here. He who is afraid is not a good man." Wang Jin just laughed and refused to take action. Tai Gong said, "Since my guest is willing to teach the naughty boy, why not use a stick?" Wang Jin said with a smile, "I'm afraid I won't look good when I bump into you." Tai Gong said, "It doesn't matter. If his limbs are damaged, it's his own fault." Wang Jin said, "I'm sorry for being rude." He went to grab a stick from the shelf. In hand. "Come to the open space and show off your flags and drums." The young man took a look, rolled in with a stick, and ran towards Wang Jin. Wang Jin dragged the stick on the ground and left. The young man rushed in again, wielding a stick. Wang Jin turned around. He looked at the open space and chopped it down. When the young man sees the stick coming, he uses the stick to block it. Wang Jin didn't knock him down. He took the stick and looked at the younger generation's arms to stab him in the future. Just pay it once, and throw the stick aside. He threw himself to the ground and fell down. Wang Jin quickly put down his stick, stepped forward to support him and said, "Don't blame me, don't blame me." The young man climbed up, went to get a stool nearby, asked Wang Jin to sit on it, and then worshipped, "I have learned from many masters in vain. Turns out it's not worth half a cent, master. I have no choice but to ask for advice." Wang Jin said, "My son and my mother have been disturbing the house here for days. We have no kindness to repay, so we should do our best." Tai Gong was overjoyed and asked the young man to wear clothes. "Come and sit down together in the back hall. Come and sit down together in the back hall." He asked the banker to kill a sheep, arranged wine, food and fruits, and invited Wang Jin's mother to join him. The four of them sat down and held a cup of wine. The grandpa stood up and ordered a glass of wine and said, "The master is so powerful, he must be a teacher. A child cannot see Mount Tai." Wang Jin said with a smile, "A traitor should not be bullied together, and a pretty person should not be concealed together. My surname is not Zhang, I am Wang Jin, the instructor of the 800,000 Imperial Guards in Tokyo. This gun and stick are fighting all day long. Because the newly appointed Captain Gao was overthrown by his late father, and now he is the commander-in-chief of the palace. He harbors old grudges and wants to do something to Wang Jin. If the villain is not in his charge, you can't argue with him." The mother and son had no choice but to flee to Yan'an Mansion and entrust Lao Zhong to do business with Xianggong Lu. "I didn't want to come here, but I had to meet my father and son who treated her like this. I also saved my old mother's illness and took care of her for days." Very inappropriate. Since the young master is willing to learn, the villain will devote himself to teaching. It's just that all your master has learned is flower sticks, which are only good for watching, but useless in battle. The villain taught him again. When the Taigongs saw what he had said, he said, "My son, you know you have lost. Come and worship master again." The young man paid homage to Wang Jin again. Taigong said, "Your Majesty, the old man's ancestral home is on the border of Huayin County. Come and worship master again." The young man paid homage to Wang Jin again. Taigong said, "Your Majesty, the old man's ancestral home is on the border of Huayin County, with Shaohua Mountain in front of him, so this village is called Shijiakan. There are always 300 to 400 households in the village. All have the surname Shi. All have the surname Shi. The old man's son has not been engaged in agriculture since he was a child, and he only likes to use spears and sticks. Mother said he couldn't do it, and she was so angry that she died." The old man had no choice but to follow his own whim, spending an unknown amount of money on his master to teach him. He also invited a skilled craftsman to embroider this embroidery with him. There are always 9 dragons on the shoulders, arms, and chest. The people in the county called him Zhuanlong Shijin. Since the coach is here today, it would be great if he can accomplish it in one go. The old man deserves a heavy reward. Wang Jin was overjoyed and said, "Don't worry, Grandpa, since you said so, the villain will teach you how to go." Since that day, we have had wine and food, leaving the leader Wang, his son and his mother in the village. Shi Jin asked the king for advice every day, and taught him all the 18 martial arts skills one by one. Those 18 kinds of martial arts? Shi Jin asked the king for advice every day, and taught him all the 18 martial arts skills one by one. Those 18 kinds of martial arts? Spears, hammers, bows, crossbows, blunderbuss, whips, slips, swords, chains, axes, and halberds, cards, sticks, spears, and forks. It is said that Shi Jin was in charge of the master Wang and his son every day at the village, teaching them martial arts. It's no big deal that Shi Taigong went to Huayin County to take charge of Liangzheng. It is said that Shi Jin was in charge of the master Wang and his son every day at the village, teaching them martial arts. It's no big deal that Shi Taigong went to Huayin County to take charge of Liangzheng. Unconsciously, time flies by, more than half a year has passed. Exactly. The sunlight flickers by outside the window, and the shadows of flowers sit forward on the table. Before the cup was filled with music, the chin pie at the foot of the stairs told the time again. It took more than half a year for Shi Jin to learn these 18 martial arts very proficiently. Thanks to Wang Jin's dedicated guidance, every piece of advice has its own secrets. Wang Jin saw that he had learned well and thought to himself, "It's good to be here, but it's just not good." One day, he remembered that Xiang Ci wanted to go to Yan'an Mansion. Shi Jin was willing to let it go and said, "Master, I only live here. I can support you, mother and son, for the rest of my life. How good it is." Wang Jin said, "My dear brother, thank you for your kindness. It is very good to be here. I'm afraid that Lieutenant Gao will come to pursue you and burden you, and I'm afraid that my virtuous brother will also suffer the consequences of being imprisoned. It's not safe and convenient, so this is a dilemma. I have my heart set on going to Yan'an Mansion and working at Lao Zhongjing's office. There is a guarding side court, where you can live and work in peace while employing people." Shi Jin and Taigong couldn't stay, so they had to arrange a banquet to see him off. They handed out a plate, 2 jokes, and 100 taels of silver to thank him. The next day, Wang Jin packed up his burden and prepared his horse, and the mother and son said goodbye to Grand Duke Shi and Shi Jin. "I asked my mother to ride on the horse and head towards Yan'an Prefecture." Shi Jin asked the banker to carry the burden and escorted him 10 miles away, and it was hard to leave him in the center. Shi Jin said goodbye to his master at that time, broke up with tears, and returned to Zhuangke. Instructor Wang still took the burden on his own, followed Ma and his mother, and went to Guanxi Road. Shi Jin said goodbye to his master at that time, broke up with tears, and returned to Zhuangke. Instructor Wang still took the burden on his own, followed Ma and his mother, and went to Guanxi Road. The words did not say that the king went to join the army. It is only said that when Shi Jin returned to the village, he just worked hard every day. He was still in his prime and had no children. He got up in the middle of the night to practice martial arts. During the day, he only shot bows and horses behind the village. Less than half a year. Shi Jin's grandfather, fell ill and could not afford to sleep for several days. Shi Jin sent people to consult doctors from far and near to see and treat him, but he could not be cured. Alas, the grandpa is dead. While Shi Jin prepared the coffins for the burial, he asked the monks to do some good deeds. Zhuai Zhaili 7 recommends the Grand Duke. He also invited Taoist priests to set up a fasting ceremony and pray for salvation. He made dozens of altars for good deeds and achievements, and chose an auspicious day for funeral and burial. There are 300 to 400 historical households in the village. Everyone came to pay their respects, and he was buried in the ancestral grave on the west mountain of the village. From then on, Shi Jin's family had no one to take care of the business, and Shi Jin refused to work in farming. He only wanted to find people to support the family and compete with guns and sticks. Since Shi Taigong's death, another 3 or 4 months have passed. It was mid-June and the summer was hot. That day, Shi Jin had nothing to do, so he caught a friend and sat under the shade of a willow tree beside the wheat field to enjoy the cool air. The wind blows through the pine forest opposite. Shi Jin cheered, "What a cool breeze!" While enjoying the cool breeze, he saw only one person looking around. Shi Jin shouted, "Trouble! Who is there in Zhang'anzhuang?" Shi Jin jumped up and turned behind the tree. When I took a look, I recognized it was Li Ji, the Orion rabbit. Shi Jin shouted, "Li Ji! What are you doing in Zhang's village? Why don't you come and see your feet?" Li Ji said, "When I took a look, I recognized it was Li Ji, the Orion rabbit." Shi Jin shouted, "Li Ji! What are you doing in Zhang's village? Why don't you come and see your feet?" Li Ji said, "Forward, big man, I want to have a bowl of wine with Mr. Ilang of Xiaoqiu on the village. Because I saw Dalang enjoying the cool weather here, I didn't dare to come and attack him." Shi Jin said, "Let me ask you, usually, you just bring some game to my farm to sell, and I have never lost money to you. Why don't you sell it to me in the future? Dare you bully me for not having money?" Li Ji replied, "How dare you, a villain? There has never been any game, so I didn't dare to come here." Shi Jin said, "Nonsense. Shaohua Mountain is so big and so vast that it is hard to believe that there are no deer or rabbits." Li Ji said. Dalang didn't know. Now recently, a group of strong men have been added to the top, and a stronghold has been set up. There are 500 to 700 young men gathered on it, and there are hundreds of good horses. The first king was called Zhu Wu, the divine machine strategist, the second was called Chenda, the leaping tiger, and the third was called Yang Chun, the white-flowered snake. These 3 are the leaders, robbing families and homes. Huayin County did not dare to arrest him. He offered a reward of $3,000 to summon people to capture him. Who dares to mess with him? Therefore, the little people dare not go up the mountain to hunt game, so they can beg and sell it. Shi Jin said, I also heard that there are strong men, but I don't want those guys to make such a big deal. It's bound to be annoying. Li Ji, when you have game in the future, look for some. Li Ji sang and went away. Shi Jin returned to the hall and thought, these guys are causing trouble, so they must come to annoy the village. In this case, he asked the banker to pick up 2 fat buffaloes and kill them. The village had good wine made by himself. He first burned a lot of paper, and then asked the banker to invite the pawns. There were 300 to 400 historians in the village, and all the villagers came to their thatched cottage. Superior. Shuji sat down. While teaching the villagers to drink wine, Shi Jin said to everyone, I heard that there are 3 strong men on Shaohua Mountain, and they gather 500 to 700 young men to rob homes and houses. Since these guys are doing such a big thing, he must come to my village sooner or later. I specially invite all of you to come and discuss this. If those guys come, everyone will be prepared. There is a clapper on my farm, you all can come to the rescue with guns and sticks. Every family has something to do, and the same is true. Help each other and protect the village together. If the strong man comes, I will take care of it. The crowd said, we, the village farmers, only rely on Dalong to make the decision. Who dares not to come when the clapper rings? That night everyone thanked everyone for the wine, paid their share, and went home to prepare their equipment. From then on, Shi Jin repaired the gate walls, arranged the village courtyard, tied up the clothes and armor, rectified the swords and horses, and guarded against thieves and bandits. Let's talk about Shaohua. That night everyone thanked everyone for the wine, paid their share, and went home to prepare their equipment. From then on, Shi Jin repaired the gate walls, arranged the village courtyard, tied up the clothes and armor, rectified the swords and horses, and guarded against thieves and bandits. Let's talk about Shaohua village. The 3 leaders sat down to discuss. Zhu Wu, the leader of the Shinji military strategist, although not capable, has many strategies. Zhu Wudong, Qinda and Yang Chun said, now I heard that Huayin County has given out a reward of 3,000 guan. Call someone to arrest us. I am afraid that when he comes, I will fight with him. It's just that the cottage is short of money and food, so why not rob some for the use of the cottage? Gather some food in the village to prepare for the coming of the army. It's easy to fight with him. Taijianhu Chinda said, that's right. Now I will go to Huayin County to ask him to borrow grain and see how he is doing. White Snake Yang Chun said, don't go to Huayin County, only go to Puching County, you will be safe. Chinda Deo said, Puching County has few households and not much money and food. It is better to attack only Huayin County, where the people are rich and there is a lot of money and food. Yang Chun said, brother, I don't know, if you want to attack Huayin County, you have to pass through Shijia village. That 9-pattern dragon Shi Jin is a big bug, don't mess with him. How could he let us go? Chinda said, brother, you are so cowardly. If you can't pass a village, how can you dare to resist the enemy's army? Yang Chun said, brother, don't underestimate him, that man is very capable. Zhu Wudao, I also heard that he is very heroic and said that this man is really capable. Brother, please leave. Chinda called the general up and said, shut up, you too. To enhance the ambition of others is to destroy one's own prestige. It's just a person, he doesn't have 3 heads and 6 arms, I don't believe it. He shouted to the young man, get my horse ready quickly. Now we will attack Shijiazhuang first, and then Huayin County. Zhu Wu. Yang Chun repeatedly advised, but Chinda was willing to listen. Then he put on his clothes and mounted his horse, ordered 140 or 50 men, sounded gongs and drums, and went down the mountain to look at Shijia village. Let's say that Shijin is making swords and horses in the village. I saw the banker reporting this matter. When Shijin heard this, he banged the clapper in the village. In front of the village, behind the village, east of the village and west of the village, 300 or 400 Shijia farmers heard the sound of clappers. They all dragged their guns and sticks, and gathered 300 or 400 people. Let's all go to Shijiazhuang. I saw Shijin wearing a scarf on his head, vermilion armor, a green brocade coat, green boots, a leather belt on his waist, an iron cover on his front and back, a bow, and a pot of arrows. In his hand he held a three-pointed, two-edged, four-orifaced, 8-ring knife. The banker took the charcoal red horse, Shijin got on the horse, drew his sword, and in front of him stood a strong banker in his 30s or 40s. Behind them were 80 or 90 stupid countrymen from the village, and households from various historical households followed behind, shouting together until they opened up at the north intersection of the village. But I saw the incoming army early, but saw, the red flag is shining, and the red flag is fluttering. The little minions are throwing forks and spears indiscriminately, and the reckless men are all carrying swords and axes. The turban is crooked, like peach blossoms in March, the mandarin jacket is tightly tied. The little minions are throwing forks and spears indiscriminately, and the reckless men are all carrying swords and axes. The turban is crooked, like peach blossoms in March, the mandarin jacket is tightly tied, but like fallen leaves in autumn. Everyone's eyes were wide open and their eyes were filled with yakshasa thoughts. That Xiao Huashan Chinda. Attracting the men and horses, they galloped down the hillside and put the minions away. When Shijin took a look, he saw Chinda wearing a dry red concave scarf, gold-wrapped iron armor, a red collared jacket, and a pair of stilt boots. He wears a 7-foot thick thread tied around his waist and rides on a high-headed white horse, with an 8-foot-long steel spear in his hand. The little minions shouted, and the two generals met each other immediately. Chinda looked at Shijin on the horse and bowed to salute. Shijin shouted, "You guys who kill people and set fires, rob homes, and commit heinous crimes all deserve to die. You must have ears too, you are so bold, come to Tai Sui to stir up trouble." Chinda replied on the horse. "I owe a little food in the village and want to go to Huayin County to borrow food. I pass through Guizhuang and borrow a road without daring to move a blade of grass. Let us go and thank you when we come back." Shijin said, "Nonsense. My family is in good order. I'm coming to catch you thieves. Today came and passed through my village, but I didn't take you, and let you pass instead. This county knew that you would be implicated in me." Chinda said, "Within the 4 seas, we are all brothers. Please lend me away." Shijin said, "What nonsense. When I agreed, there was one who refused. If you ask him if he is willing, then go." Chinda said, "Who should I ask, a good man?" Shijin said, "You ask if he is willing to use the knife in my hand." "I'll let you go," Chinda said angrily. "Don't catch up with others, don't try to show off your spirit." Shijin was also angry. He swung the knife in his hand, sat down suddenly, and came to fight Chinda. Chinda also slapped his horse and rushed to meet Shijin. The two handed over the horse, but they saw One back and forth, one up and down. Going back and forth is like a dragon playing with a pearl in deep water. Going up and down is like a tiger fighting for food on half a rock. Turning left and right is like Zhang Fei fighting Lu Bu. Turning back and forth is like Jingda fighting Qin Qiong. The 9-patterned dragon is angry. The 3-pointed knife only looks at the top of the door and flies. The tiger jumps into the stream and becomes angry, and the 8-foot-long spear never leaves the heart. Show off your skills among the good players, and win the hearts among the hearts. Shi Jin and Chinda fought for a long time. I saw the roar of war horses. Kick up the weapons in your hands. Guns and knives come and go, and everyone is blocked by barriers. The two of them fought deep into the room, but Shi Jin used a flaw and asked Chinda to dig the gun into his heart. Shi Jin moved his waist. Chinda and Qian came into his arms. Shi Jin gently stretched his arms, twisted his waist, and with just one hold, he gently lifted Chinda off the intarsia saddle. He grabbed the string by his arms and threw him in front of the horse to surrender. The war horse Pufeng also seemed to be gone. Shi Jin asked Zhuang Ku to tie up Chinda. Everyone drove the little guys away and left. Shi Jin returned to the village and tied Chinda to the inner pillar of the courtyard. Wait for the first shot to take the heads of the two thieves, and then dismiss them together to ask for rewards. He also served wine to everyone, and the teaching power was dispersed. Everyone cheered. It's not in vain that Shi Daolong is such a hero. Don't say that everyone is enjoying drinking. But he said that Zhu Wu and Yang Chun were suspicious and uncertain in the village, so he asked his subordinates to go find out the news. I saw the people who were returning holding the empty horse and running to the front of the mountain, shouting, "Bitter." The Qin family brother refused to listen to what his two brothers said and lost his life. Zhu Wu asked the reason. The little gangster said that there was a confrontation, so how could Shi Jin be considered heroic? Zhu Wu said, "I don't listen to my words, and this is the result." Yang Chun said, "How about if we all go and die with him?" Zhu Wudao, "It's also impossible. He has already lost, so how can you overcome him?" "I have a trick. If I can't save him, you and I will break up." Yang Chun asked, "How to plan hard?" Zhu Wu whispered in his ear and said, "Only get rid of the land." Yang Chun said, "What a plan! You and I will go without further ado." Besides, Shi Jin was still in the village. His anger had not subsided when he saw Zhuang Kefi reporting, "Zhu Wu in the village. Yang Chunzi is here." Shi Jin said, "These guys are resting together. I'll teach him how to get rid of the official with 2 blows. Get the horse quickly." While playing the clapper, everyone had arrived early. Shi Jin got on his horse and was about to leave the village gate when he saw Zhu Wu. Yang Chun walked to the front of the village, and they both knelt down, holding back tears. Shi Jin got off his horse and shouted, "What do you think of kneeling down?" Zhu Wu cried, "I have 3 villains, and I am tired of being forced by the lawsuit. I have no choice but to go up the mountain and drop grass. I made a vow at the beginning, I don't want to be born on the same day, I just want to die on the same day." Although not as loyal as Guan, Zhang, and Liu Bei, their hearts are the same. Today, my younger brother Chinda did not listen to good words and mistakenly violated the power of the tiger. He has been captured by heroes and is in your village. He has no way to plead with you. He will die on the first step. I hope the hero will remove the three of us and ask for rewards, and I will never frown. We will die at the hands of the hero without any resentment. Shi Jin listened. He thought, they are so loyal. If I take him to serve as an official to ask for rewards, all the heroes in the world will laugh at me for not being a hero. Since ancient times, there has been a saying, big insects don't eat the flesh. Shi Jin then said, you too, follow me. Come in. Zhu Wu and Yang Chun were not afraid and followed Shi Jin until they knelt down in front of the back hall and taught Shi Jin how to bind him. Shi Jin shouted 3 or 5 times, but those two were willing to get up. Xingxing cherishes Xingxing, and a good man knows a good man. Shi Jin said, since you are so loyal, I would not be a good man if I gave you away. How about I let Chinda go to repay you? Zhu Wudao said, don't implicate the hero, it is not safe. I would rather send us to the official position to ask for rewards. Shi Jin said, how to make it happen? Are you willing to eat and drink with me? Zhu Wudao said, I'm not afraid of death, let alone wine and meat. At that time, Shi Jin was overjoyed and liberated Chinda. Let's set up a banquet with wine and wait for 3 people in the back hall. Zhu Wu, Yang Chun and Chinda expressed their gratitude for their great kindness. Let's set up a banquet with wine and wait for 3 people in the back hall. Zhu Wu, Yang Chun and Chinda expressed their gratitude for their great kindness. A few glasses of wine will add spring beauty. After drinking, the 3 of them thanked Shi Jin and went back to the mountain. Shi Jin sent him out of the village gate and returned to the village. But Zhu Wu and the other 3 returned to the stronghold and sat down. Zhu Wudao said, if we didn't do this trick, how could we be alive here? Although we saved 1 person, it was rare for Shi Jin to let us go out of loyalty. I'll prepare some gifts to send in a few days to thank him for saving his life. Stop talking. After more than 10 days, Zhu Wu and 3 other people collected 30 taels of gold and sent 2 minions to Shizhezhuang in the dark of the moon. At the first watch of the night, the minions knocked on the door, and the banker reported to Shi Jin. Shi Jin hurriedly put on his clothes, came to the door, and asked the young man, what do you want to say? The young man said, the 3 leaders paid their respects again and again. I specially asked the primary school to give some small gifts to reward De Lang for not killing him. Don't put it off, look forward to begging and smiling. He took out the gold and handed it to him. Shi Jin refused at first, but later thought, since I sent it, I can repay it with a gift. Received gold. Asked the banker to buy wine and take care of the small school. After drinking for half the night, I gave some small pieces of silver to the primary school student and went back to the mountain. More than half a month later, Zhu Wu and 3 other people were discussing in the stronghold and robbed a string of large beads. He also sent the minions to the official's village overnight. Shi Jin accepted it and didn't care. Another half-month passed, and Shi Jin thought to himself, it's rare that these 3 respect me, so I'll prepare some gifts in return for him. The next day, he asked the banker to find a tailor, and went to the county to buy 3 pieces of red opera brocade and cut them into 3-collared brocade jackets. He also picked 3 fat sheep, cooked them, put them in a big box, and entrusted 2 bankers to deliver them. Shi Jinzhuang. There is a banker named Wang Si who is the leader. This man was quite able to agree with the government and was very eloquent. People all over the village called him Sabotang. Shi taught him how to pick up a box load and send it directly to the foot of the mountain with a capable dealer. The young man asked Bei Shi and led him to the stronghold to meet Zhu Wu and others. The three leaders were overjoyed. They received the gift of brocade coats and fat sheep and wine, and rewarded the villagers with 10 taels of silver. Each person had more than 10 bowls of wine. The young man asked Bei Shi and led him to the stronghold to meet Zhu Wu and others. The three leaders were overjoyed. They received the gift of brocade coats and fat sheep and wine, and rewarded the villagers with 10 taels of silver. Each person had more than 10 bowls of wine. After going down the mountain and returning to the village, he met Shi and said, "Come back, many of the leaders on the mountain." From then on, Shi often interacted with Zhu Wu and the other three people. From time to time, Wang Si would go to the village to deliver things to the village, not even for a day. The leaders of the village also frequently sent gold and silver to Shi. Time flies, and the Mid-Autumn Festival in August arrives. Shi wanted to talk to the three of them and made an appointment to come to the village on the 15th night to watch the moon and drink. First, Wang Si, a guest of the village, sent a letter of invitation and went straight to Shaohua Mountain to invite Zhu Wu, Qinda, and Yang Chun to come to the village to attend the banquet. Wang Siqi went to the stronghold to write the book, met the three leaders, and wrote the book. Zhu Wu was overjoyed when he saw it. After 3 promises, he immediately wrote a reply letter, rewarded the king with 4 or 5 taels of silver, and ate about 10 bowls of wine. When the king came down the mountain, he bumped into the little boy who was bringing things as usual. He hugged him and let him go. Then he was dragged to a village hotel on the mountain roadside and had more than 10 bowls of wine. Wang Si said goodbye and returned to the village. As he walked, he was blown by the mountain wind and the wine came to him. He staggered and staggered with each step. "You can't walk 10 miles. Seeing a forest, I ran inside, looked at the green sedge, and fell to the ground. It turned out that Li Ji, the rabbit, was holding a rabbit at the foot of the hillside. He recognized it was Wang Si, the master of Shizhizhuang, and rushed into the woods to help him. I can support you there." Seeing money protruding from Wang Si's arm, Li Ji thought, "This guy is drunk. There is a lot to beg for there. Why not get some from him? It is also the gathering of Tiangang stars, and opportunities, I can support you there." Seeing money protruding from Wang Si's arm, Li Ji thought, "This guy is drunk. There is a lot to beg for there. Why not get some from him? It is also the gathering of Tiangang stars, and opportunities will naturally arise." Li Ji untied his arms and looked at the ground. With a shake, the letter of reply and the money came out. Li Ji picked it up and knew a few words. When he opened the book and looked at it, he saw that it read Shaohua Shenjuwu, Qinda, and Yang Chun. There are many words that are both literary and martial, but I don't recognize them. I only recognize 3 names. Li Jidao, as an Orion, when will I be able to make a fortune? The fortune teller said I will make a lot of money this year, but here I am. Huayin County saw a reward of 3,000 pieces of gold to capture his 3 thieves. That guy, Nai Shijin, the day before yesterday I went to his village to look for Ao Chuilang, and he said I was here to step on the plate. You turned out to be dealing with thieves. I have taken all the money and books, and hope that Huayin County will come forward. But it was said that Zhuangku Wang Si slept until the 2nd watch, then woke up and saw the moonlight shining slightly on him. Wang Si was startled and jumped up. But I saw pine trees on all sides. When I went to feel around my waist, I found that both the arm and the book were gone. When I looked around, I saw Kong resting on the sedge. Wang Si just complained and thought, the money doesn't matter. How could this reply be so good? Did someone take it away? He raised his brows and thought about it, saying to himself, if I go back to the village and write a letter saying that I have taken off my clothes, the elder will definitely be anxious and drive me out. It's better to just say that there was no reply and check there. The plan was settled. Fei seemed to be taking his way back to the village, but the weather was so good at 5 o'clock. When Shi Jin saw Wang Si coming back, he asked, how did you come back just now? Wang Si said, thanks to the blessing of the master, the 3 leaders in the village refused to let him go. They kept Wang Si and drank half the night, so he came back late. Shi Jin asked again, has there ever been a reply? Wang Si said, the 3 leaders want to write a reply. Thanks to the blessing of the master, the 3 leaders in the village refused to let him go. They kept Wang Si and drank half the night, so he came back late. Shi Jin asked again, has there ever been a reply? Wang Si said, the 3 leaders want to write a reply. But the villain said, since the 3 leaders are sure to come to the banquet, why do they need to reply to the letter? The villain has a glass of wine, so he may get lost on the road, which is not a joke. But the villain said, since the 3 leaders are sure to come to the banquet, why do they need to reply to the letter? The villain has a glass of wine, so he may get lost on the road, which is not a joke. Shi Jin was overjoyed after hearing this and said, it's not in vain that everyone calls it sabotang, it's really amazing. Wang Si responded, how dare you, a villain, to leave late? I didn't stop on the way and kept running back to the village. Shi Jin said, in that case, ask people to go to the county to buy some fruits and serve them with wine. Unexpectedly, the Mid-Autumn Festival was approaching, and it was a bright and sunny day. Shi Jin paid his family's villagers to slaughter a large sheep and 100 chickens and geese that day. Prepare for a feast of wine and food. Look at how late it is coming, how can it be a good Mid-Autumn Festival? But see. Midnight is early, dusk is half past, and the moon hangs like silver. The ice tray is like day, and it is pleasant to enjoy it. Qingying is very perfect. Osmanthus and Jade Rabbit are intertwined. The curtains are rolled up high, the golden cups are used to drink wine, and people are laughing and celebrating Xingping. This festival happens every year, and people get drunk. Don't say goodbye to drinking at night, the silver and silver dew is new. Let's talk about Zhu Wu, Chen De, and others on Shaohua Mountain. The 3 leaders of Yang Chun assigned their minions to guard the gate of the village, with only 3 or 5 companions. They wielded simple knives and each had a sword on their waist. Without riding a pommel horse, they walked down the mountain and came to Shizhuang. Shi Jin then continued, each describing the etiquette. Please enter the back garden. A banquet has been arranged in the village. Shi Jin invited the 3 leaders to sit down and Shi Jin sat across from him. Please enter the back garden. A banquet has been arranged in the village. Shi Jin invited the 3 leaders to sit down and Shi Jin sat across from him. Then he asked the banker to fasten the front and rear doors of the bank. While drinking, the villagers and guests took turns holding the cups. While cutting sheep and drinking wine. After a few glasses of wine, I pushed up the bright moon in the east and saw, the sweet-scented osmanthus is far away from the sea, and the clouds and leaves are scattered across the sky. The colorful clouds shine like silver for thousands of miles, and the plain soul reflects thousands of mountains like water. A round of fun. It can clarify the universe. The four seas are united, reflecting the brightness of the universe. The shadows across the wilderness startle the crows sleeping alone. The light shines on the flat lake and illuminates the geese roosting in two places. The ice will spreads for 3,000 miles, and the jade rabbit swallows 400 states. It can clarify the universe. The four seas are united, reflecting the brightness of the universe. The shadows across the wilderness startle the crows sleeping alone. The light shines on the flat lake and illuminates the geese roosting in two places. The ice will spreads for 3,000 miles, and the jade rabbit swallows 400 states. Shi Jinzheng and 3 leaders were drinking in the back garden, enjoying the Mid-Autumn Festival and talking about old stories and new ones. Only a shout was heard outside the wall, and torches were lit randomly. Shi Jinzheng and 3 leaders were drinking in the back garden, enjoying the Mid-Autumn Festival and talking about old stories and new ones. Only a shout was heard outside the wall, and torches were lit randomly. Shi Jin was shocked, jumped up and said, "3 worthy friends, please sit down. Let me see." He shouted to the village guest not to open the door, but he took up a ladder and climbed up the wall to take a look. He saw the Huayin County captain on horseback, leading 2 captains and 300 to 400 soldiers to surround the village courtyard. Shi Jin and the 3 leaders just complained. "In the light of the torch outside, I saw steel forks, plain knives, and 5-pronged forks, all arranged like a forest of hemp trees." Both of them shouted, "Don't leave the strong thief." It was not this group of people who came to capture Shi Jin and the 3 leaders, but they had different teachings. Shi Jin first killed 1 or 2 people, got acquainted with more than a dozen heroes, and made a big fuss in Hebei until all the evil spirits from Tiangang and Earth met. Directly teach soldiers to garrison in the depths of reed flowers, and manage warships under the shade of lotus leaves. How Shi Jin directly teach soldiers to garrison in the depths of reed flowers, and manage warships under the shade of lotus leaves. How Shi Jin and the 3 leaders escaped will be explained next time. In the 3rd episode, Shi Dalong walked to Huayin County at night, and Lu Tiha punched Guanxi. The poem says, "Summer turns to cold and spring, summer and autumn come. The setting sun sets in the west and the water flows in the east. Wealth and honor are all due to fate, and poverty is also due to fate. When things happen, the organization must make progress, and people will look back when they are proud. Where are the general's horses now? Weeds and flowers fill the ground with sorrow." At that time, Shi Jin said, "How can we survive?" Zhu Wu and other 3 leaders knelt down and said, "Brother, you are a clean person, don't get involved with us. Dalong, please bring the ropes and tie the 3 of us out to ask for rewards, so as not to make you look bad." Shi Jin said, "How to do it? When I was lying on the ground, it was I who earned you to catch you and ask for rewards, but it was in vain that I made the world laugh at me. If I die, I will die with you, and if you live, I will live with you. Just wait, don't worry, don't take advantage of it. Let me ask you why." Shi Jin climbed up the ladder and asked, "You both have headaches. Why did you come to rob my village in the middle of the night?" The 2 men replied, "Dalang, you are relying on yourself. I saw the plaintiff Li Ji here." Shi Jin shouted, "Li Ji, why did you come to rob my village in the middle of the night?" The 2 men replied, Delang, you are relying on yourself. I didn't know that I found Wang Xi's reply in the woods and read it in front of the county for a while, so the incident happened. Shi Jin called Wang Xi and asked, "You said there was no reply to the letter, how come there is a book?" Wang Jin said, "It's just that the villain was drunk for a while and forgot to reply to the letter." Shi Jin shouted, "How can you be a good beast?" The Dutu people outside were afraid of Shi Jinda and did not dare to rush into the village to catch people. The three leaders pointed their fingers and said, and promised to go outside. Shi Jin understood and shouted from the ladder, "Don't make any noise, both of you, step back. I will free myself from the bondage and ask for reward." The two heads were afraid of Shi Jin, so they had to respond. "We are all fine. We will wait for you to tie him out and ask for rewards together." Shi Jin went down the ladder and came to the front of the hall. He called Wang Xi first, took him into the back garden, and killed him with a knife. He taught many villagers. Even if they tidied up the soft and other things that were not available in the village, they were piled up and piled up. 30 or 40 torches were lit on one side. Shi Jin and the three leaders in the village were fully clothed, and each of them had a sword on his shoulder on the gun rack. He took a simple knife, tied it up, and set fire to the thatched cottage behind the village. The dealers each tied up their parcels. Seeing a fire starting outside, everyone rushed to look behind. Let's say that Shi Jin set a fire again in the middle hall and opened the main door. Scream and the killer will come out. Shi Jin was in the lead, Zhu Wu and Yang Chun were in the middle, and Chinda was behind. They and the minions were in charge of the villagers, charging and attacking, pointing east and killing west. Shi Jin is a big bug, how can he stop him? Fire suddenly started from behind, and he opened a path and rushed out, facing the two Dutu and Li Ji. Shi Jin was furious when he saw this, and his enemies were particularly discerning when they met. Both of them saw that the momentum was not good, so they turned around and left. Li Ji was about to turn around, but Shi Jin had arrived early. He picked up a simple sword and cut Li Ji into 2 pieces. When both of them were about to leave, Chinda and Yang Chun caught up and killed 2 people with a knife. The county captain was so frightened that he ran back on horseback. Wherever the soldiers dared to move forward, they fled for their lives and disappeared without a trace. Shi Jin led a group of people to kill and leave. The officers and soldiers did not dare to come and dispersed. Shi Jin, Zhu Wu, Chinda, Yang Chun, and the guests of the village all went to the stronghold on Shaohua Mountain to sit down and take a breather. When Zhu Wu waited in the stronghold, he busily taught his young men how to kill cattle and horses, and congratulated them on having a banquet. After several days, Shi Jin thought, I had to save 3 people at once, so I set fire to the village courtyard. Although some small items were saved, all the family's wealth and heavy items were gone. He hesitated in his heart and couldn't stop here. Cayenne said to Zhu Wu and others, "My master, Master Wang, is working in the Kansai Jinglu mansion. I want to go find him first, because my father is dead and I can't go there. Now that the private farm has been destroyed, let's go find him." Zhu Wu and the others said, "Brother, please leave. You will only stay in our village for a while and discuss it again. If the elder brother does not want to let go, when things calm down, the younger brothers and elder brothers will reorganize the farmyard and become good citizens again." Shi Jin said, "Although it is your good feelings, it is hard to stay in my heart. I thought that all my belongings were gone, and I thought I would go back to renovate the manor house. I am going to look for master now, and I also want to find out where I am from. May you be happy for the rest of your life. Zhu Wudao, my brother is just a village leader here, but he is not happy. Although the village is small, it cannot afford to stop the horse. Shi Jin said, I am an innocent man, how could I be willing to stain the remains of my parents? You advised me to drop the grass and stop talking. Shi Jin stayed for a few days and decided to go. Zhu Wu and others could not stay. The villagers Shi Jin brought with him stayed in the village. He only packed up a few pieces of silver and tied a package. The rest were all kept in the cottage. Shi Jin wears a large white fanyang felt hat with a pinch of red tassel on his head. Under the hat is a soft mixed green turban with horns, and a bright yellow ribbon around his neck. Wearing a white silk tunic with 2 upper collars, a 5-finger plum red thread tied around the waist and arms, walking on the blue and white road with twisted feet, wearing hemp shoes with many ears for hiking on the mountain, and a bronze symbol with a chime mouth as a goose. Feather knife. He put the package on his back, picked up the pu dao, and said goodbye to Zhu Wu and the other 3. Take the road to Guanxi 5th Road and look for Yan'anfu Road. But see, rugged mountains and lonely villages. Covering the clouds and mist, I stayed in the deserted forest at night, and took the dawn moon towards the dangerous road. Walking around in the setting sun, you hear the barking of dogs, and in the early frost, you hear the crow of roosters. The shadows of the mountains are about to sink, and the shadows of the willows are disappearing. The broken clouds reflected the red light in the water, and the dusk turned into a green mist. The fisherman by the stream returns to the village, and the woodcutter in the field returns with a heavy. The shadows of the mountains are about to sink, and the shadows of the willows are disappearing. The broken clouds reflected the red light in the water, and the dusk turned into a green mist. The fisherman by the stream returns to the village, and the woodcutter in the field returns with a heavy load. When Shi Jin is on the road, he will not be hungry and thirsty for food and drink. He will stay at night and travel at dawn. I walked alone for more than half a month and arrived at Weizhou. There is also a Jinglu mansion here. Could it be that Master Wang is here? When Shi Jin went into the city to take a look, there were still 6 streets and 3 cities. I saw only a small tea house. At the intersection. Shi Jin then came into the tea house, picked a seat and sat down. Dr. T asked, "What kind of tea does your guest want?" Shi Jin said, "Have some bubble tea." Dr. T ordered some bubble tea and placed it in front of Shi Jin. Shi Jin asked, "Where is the administration office here?" Dr. T said, "Only in front." Shi Jin said, "May I ask if there is a coach Wang Jin from Tokyo in the Jinglu mansion?" Dr. T said, "There are many teachers in this mansion. There are 3 or 4 people named Wang, but I don't know which one is Wang Jin. There are 3 or 4 people named Wang, but I don't know which one is Wang Jin." Before he was done, he saw a big man striding in and walked into the tea house. When Shi Jin looked at him, he looked like an officer. How could it end? His head is wrapped in a turban with sesame and Luowan characters, and there are 2 gold rings of Taiyuan New Zealand silk on the back of his head. He wears a parrot green silk war robe with a parrot green silk collar, and a civil and military double-stranded crow-green sash around his waist. Wearing a pair of eagle claw leather 4-seam dry yellow boots. He has a round face, big ears, a straight nose and a square mouth, and a raccoon beard on his cheek. The body is 8 feet long and the waist is 10 girth wide. The man entered the tea house and sat down. Dr. T said, "When the guest officers want to find the king's instructor, they just ask about Tiha and they all recognize him." Shurjin hurriedly stood up, saluted, and said, "Officials, please sit down and have tea." The man saw that Shurjin was tall and looked like a good man, so he came to salute him. The two of them sat down and Shurjin said, "You are so bold, you dare to ask the official what your surname is?" The man said, "The Sa family is under the jurisdiction of the Jinglu prefecture, and the surname is Lu, which means da. I dare to ask my elder brother, what is your surname?" Shurjin said, "The villain is from Huayin County, Huazhou, and his surname is Shur and Jin." "Excuse me, sir, I have a master. He is the instructor of the 800,000 Imperial Guards in Tokyo. His surname is Wang Jin. I wonder if he has one in this Jinglu mansion." Lu Tiha said, "Brother, are you not Shur Dalong, the 9-patterned dragon from Shijiakan?" Shurjin bowed and said, "That's the villain." Lu Tiha quickly returned the courtesy and said, "It is better to be famous than to meet, and to meet is worse than to be famous. You need to find Coach Wang." Could it be Wang Jin who hated Captain Gao in Tokyo? Shurjin said, "It's that person." Lu Da said, "I also heard his name. That brother is not here. The Sa family can hear it." He was working in Yan'an Prefecture, where he was an old man. "In Weizhou, I am guarded by Mr. Xianggong, the manager of Sochong. That person is not here. When you are Shur Dalong, I often hear your good name. Come and have a drink with me." Lu Tiha took Shurjin's hand and came out of the tea house. Lu Da turned around and said, "I will pay you back the tea money you spent at home." Dr. Cha responded, "It's okay to eat, just go." The two linked arms and came out of the tea house. After walking 30 or 50 steps on the street, they saw a crowd of people surrounding the white ground. Shurjin said, "Brother, let's take a look." When he left the crowd to look, there was a person in the middle. There were more than a dozen plasters spread on the ground backed by a dozen sticks and a plate, with paper labels stuck on them, but they turned out to be people who used guns and sticks to sell medicine in the rivers and lakes. Shurjin looked at it and recognized him. It turned out that the master who taught Shurjinsho was named Tiger Fighter Li Zhong. Shurjin came into the crowd and called out, "Master, long time no see." Li Zhong said, "How did you get here, dear brother?" Lu Tiha said, "Since I am Shur Dalong's master. Come and have 3 drinks with me." Li Zhong said, "When the boy sells the plaster and gets the money back, we can go with Tiha." Ruda said, "If you don't want to wait for you, just go with me." Li Zhong said, "There is nothing you can do about the food and clothing of a villain. If Tiha goes first, the villain will look for the future. Dear brother, you and Tihath go first." Ruda was anxious, pushed the person watching and then cursed, "These guys are holding their buttholes and running away, and those who don't go will be beaten." When everyone saw that it was Lu Tiha, they all left in a hurry. Seeing Lu Da's fierceness, Li Zhong dared to get angry but did not dare to say anything. He could only laugh and said, "What an impatient person." Then he packed his medicine bag and sent a gun and stick. The 3 of them wandered around and came to a hotel famous for the Pan family under the Zhouqiao Bridge. A viewing pole was picked out in front of the door, and a wine bottle was hung, floating in the air. "How come there is such a good restaurant?" The three of them wandered around and came to a hotel famous for the Pan family under the Zhoutiao Bridge. A viewing pole was picked out in front of the door, and a wine bottle was hung, floating in the air. How come there is such a good restaurant? Exactly, Li Bai nodded and drank. Yuan Ming waved back. There is a poem to prove it. The wind blows in the smoke and the brocade is blooming, and the festivals begin to grow in peacetime. It can add courage to strong men and heroes, and can relieve the melancholy of beautiful women. Yuan Ming waved back. There is a poem to prove it. The wind blows in the smoke and the brocade is blooming, and the festivals begin to grow in peacetime. It can add courage to strong men and heroes, and can relieve the melancholy of beautiful women. Outside the 3-foot-high dawn willow tree, a pole is inserted diagonally next to the apricot blossoms. The man failed in his life ambition and went into drunkenness singing happily. The three of them went up to Pan's restaurant and sat down in the Ji-Chu pavilion. Lu Tiha took the seat of honor, Li Zhong sat across from him, and Shi Jin took the seat next to him. The bartender sang. Recognizing it was Lu Tiha, he asked, "How much wine can I get, Officer Tiha?" Ruda said, "First, get 4 jiao of wine." While laying out the vegetables and fruits and tasting the wine, he asked again, "Officer, how much do you want to eat?" Ruda said, "What are you asking for?" "Just sell it and I'll pay you back once you get it. This guy is just here to make noise." The bartender went down and immediately brought the wine up, but he didn't eat meat and only focused on the future and setting a table. We had 3 glasses of wine and were chatting some gossip. Competing some marksmanship. It was said that they could enter the harbor, but I could only hear someone choking and crying in the next door. Ruda was anxious and threw all the dishes on the floor. The bartender heard this and hurriedly came up to take a look. See Lu Tiha angrily. The bartender said, "If the official wants something, please pay and sell it." Luda said, "What does the Sagia want?" "You have to recognize the Sagia, but you can't help but make someone cry in the wall." See Lu Tiha angrily. The bartender said, "If the official wants something, please pay and sell it." Luda said, "What does the Sagia want?" "You have to recognize the Sagia, but you can't help but make someone cry in the wall." Make my brothers drink wine. Sajiaksu has never left you with money for drinks. The bartender said, "Master, please calm down. How dare a villain make people cry and disturb officials from drinking wine?" The ones who were crying were the father and son who sang at Quogiator. I don't know that the officials were eating and drinking here, and for a while they felt miserable and cried. Lu Tiha said, "But he is causing trouble. You and I can summon him." The bartender went to call, and after a while, only 2 people arrived. A woman of 18 or 19 years old in front and an old man of 50 or 60 years old behind him came to the front with a string of clappers in their hands. Look at that woman, although she doesn't have a very good appearance, she still has some moving colors. But see. Her hair is in a pine bun with a green jade hairpin, her slim waist is tied with 6 red skirts. A plain white old shirt covers the snowy body, and pale yellow soft socks line the bow shoes. Her eyebrows were furrowed, her eyes were filled with tears, and her pink face was drooped. The delicate fragrance will eliminate jade snow on your skin. If it's not rain disease and cloud worry, it must be worry and hatred. Generally speaking, he has good muscles and bones, and he is charming even without makeup. The woman wiped her tears and came forward and said 3 blessings deeply. The old man also met. Ruda asked, "Where do you two come from? Why are you crying?" The woman then said, "The officials don't know, so let me report it." The old man also met. Ruta asked, "Where do you two come from? Why are you crying?" The woman then said, "The officials don't know, so let me report it. My family is from Tokyo." Because he and his parents came to Weizhou to join their relatives, they did not want to move to Nanjing. My mother fell ill and died in the inn. The son and father are living in this life. There is a rich man here. A man named Jingdaguan of Jingguanxi, because he saw the slave's family, he sent a strong matchmaker to force the slave to become his concubine. Who would have thought that by writing 3,000 guan of documents and paying for the deed in lieu of money, I could take the slave's body? Less than 3 months. The eldest wife of his family was so interested in making troubles that she drove the slaves out and did not allow them to be reunited. He landed at the shop owner's house and demanded 3,000 guan from Yuan Dian. My father is cowardly and I can't argue with him, and he is rich and powerful. I didn't get a penny from him at first, but now I have to ask for money to pay him back. There was nothing I could do. My father taught me some tunes from the slave family since I was a child, and I came here to get a seat at the restaurant. Every day I get some money, most of it will be returned to him. Leave some young sons and fathers to take care of themselves. There were very few drinkers these past 2 days, which violated his money limit, and I was afraid that he would be humiliated when he came to ask for money. The sons and fathers cried when they thought of this suffering and had no one to tell them. I don't want to offend the official by mistake. I hope to beg for forgiveness and raise my noble hand. Lu Tiha asked again, "What's your surname? Rest in that inn? Where does that person from Guanxi Zhengdaguan live?" The old man replied, "The old man's surname is Jin, and he ranks second. The child's nickname is Tsuilian. Zhengdaguan is Zheng Tu, who sells meat under the Zhuangyuan bridge here, and is nicknamed Zhengguanxi." The old man and his son only settled down at Lu's store in front of the east gate. Ruta heard this and said, "Bah! I only knew that Zhengdaguan, but it turned out to be Zheng Tu, the pig butcher. This arrogant and talented person entrusted me to work as a butcher under the supervision of Prime Minister and Xiaozhong, but he turned out to be such a bully." Looking back at Li Zhong and Shi Jin, he said, "You two stay here until the Sa family goes to beat that guy to death." Shi Jin and Li Zhong hugged each other and persuaded, "Brother, please calm down and pay attention to me tomorrow." 2-3 I replied 5 times to persuade him to stay. Luda said again, "Old man, come here. How about we arrange some arrangements with you and go back to Tokyo tomorrow?" Luda said again, "Old man, come here. How about we arrange some arrangements with you and go back to Tokyo tomorrow?" But how can the shop owner be willing to let it go? Zhengdaguan needed to be found and he asked for money. Lu Tiha said, "It doesn't matter, I have my own reasons." But how can the shop owner be willing to let it go? Zhengdaguan needed to be found and he asked for money. Lu Tiha said, "It doesn't matter, I have my own reasons." Then he went to his side and took out 5 taels of silver, put it on the table, looked at Shi Jin and said, "The restaurant can't bring out any more today. If you have money, lend me some. The Sa family will return it to you tomorrow." Shi Jin said, "What are you talking about? I want my brother to pay back. Go to the package and take out an ingot of 10 taels of silver and put it on the table." Lu Da looked at Li Zhong and said, "You can also lend some to the Sa family." Li Zhong went to his side and took out 2 taels of silver. Lu Tiha looked at him and saw the young man, so he said, "He is also an unhappy person." Luda only gave the 15 taels of silver to Mr. Jean and said, "You and your son are going to make a plate. At the same time, you are packing your luggage. I will pay you too early tomorrow morning. Let's see if the shop owner dares to keep you." Mr. Jean and his daughter paid their respects and went away. Ruda threw the 2 taels of silver back to Li Zhong. The 3 of them ate another 2 cents of wine, then came downstairs and called out, "Master, I'll pay you back tomorrow for the wine money." The host replied repeatedly, "Tahar just wants to go on his own, but it's okay to eat. I'm afraid Tahar won't come and get credit." The 3 of them left Pan's wine shop and went to the street to part ways. Shi Jin and Li Zhong went to their own inns. It is only said that Lu Tiha returned to the lower part of the Jinglu mansion, went to the room, did not eat supper, and fell asleep angrily. The host didn't dare to ask him. Besides, Mr. Jean got these 15 taels of silver and returned to the shop. "After settling my daughter, I went to find a car far outside the city. I came back and packed my luggage, paid for the room and board, calculated the money for firewood and rice, and just waited for the next day. Nothing happened that night. Get up at 5 o'clock the next morning. The son and father first started cooking, eating, and cleaning up. As the sky dimmed, I saw Lu Tiha striding into the store and shouting loudly, 'Servant, where is Mr. Jin's resting place?' The second brother said, 'Mr. Jin. Taihath is here looking for you.' Mr. Jean opened the door and said, 'Official Tiha, please take a seat inside.' Ruda said, 'Why sit down? Just go and go, what are you waiting for?' Lao Jean led his daughter, picked up a load, thanked her, and then went out. The waiter stopped him and said, 'Jean Gong, where are you going?' Luda asked, 'He owes you less money for the rent?' The waiter said, 'The rent for this villain was all paid last night. I owe Mr. Zheng the money for his personal registration. Where are you? Keep an eye on him as a villain.' Lu Tiha said, 'Zheng Tu's money will be returned to him by the Sa family. You can let this old man return to his hometown.' The waiter in the shop was willing to let him go. Luda was furious, spread his fingers, and slapped the waiter on the face. The waiter in the shop who was beaten vomited blood, and then punched him again, knocking out 2 of his teeth. The waiter stood up and left in a puff of smoke. The shop owner dared to come out and stop him. Mr. Jean and his son. He hurriedly left the store and went out of the city to look for the car he had found yesterday. Ruda was thinking that the waiter might have rushed to stop him, so he took a stool to the store and sat there for 2 hours. Maybe Jin Gong was far away, so he just got up and walked towards the Zhuangyuan bridge. Let's say that Jing Tu had 2 storefronts, 2 meat tables, and 3 or 5 pieces of pork hanging on them. Zheng Tu was sitting in the cabinet in front of the door. Look at the dozen or so knife men selling meat. Luda walked to the door and shouted, "Zheng Tu." When Zheng Tu looked, he saw it was Lu Tiha, and hurriedly came out of the closet and sang, "Tiha, forgive me." Then he asked his deputy to bring a stool, "Please sit down." Luda sat down and said, "In accordance with the decree of Mr. Jing Lu, I want 10 kilograms of fine meat. Cut it into minced meat. Don't see any fat on top." Zheng Tu said, "Commander, please choose what you want and cut it into 10 kilograms. Lu Tiha said, "Don't wait for the picklings to take action, just do it yourself." Zheng Tu said, "That's right. The villain just cut himself off." I went to the meat table and picked out 10 pounds of meat and chopped it into minced meat. The waiter in the shop wrapped his head with a handkerchief. When I came to Jingtu's house to report about Mr. Jean, I saw Lu Tiha sitting by the butcher's door. He didn't dare to come over, so he had to stand under the eaves and watch from a distance. Jingtu cut himself into pieces for half an hour. Wrapped it in lotus leaves, he said. Tiha, can someone send it to you? Ruda said, what to send? Stay here, if you want another 10 pounds, it will be fat. Don't see some fine things on it. You have to cut it into pieces. Smell. Jingtu said, you're talented. I'm afraid the house will have wonton wrappers. What's the use of the fat smell? Ruda opened his eyes and said, my lord, Jun's decree has been distributed to the Sa family. Who dares to ask him? Jingtu said, yes. If something is useful, the villain will cut it off. I also selected 10 pounds of fat meat, cut it into minced meat, and wrapped it in lotus leaves. After working hard all morning, it's time to finish eating. Dare you come over to the waiter in that shop? Even the customers who wanted to buy meat didn't dare to come. Jingtu said, take it with Tiha and send it to the general's house. Ruda said, if you want another 10 kilograms of golden. Even the customers who wanted to buy meat didn't dare to come. Jingtu said, take it with Tiha and send it to the general's house. Don't see any meat on it. Jingtu smiled and said, but you didn't come here specifically to entertain me. After hearing this, Ruda jumped up, took the 2 bags of sesame seeds in his hands, looked at Jingtu and said, Sagio wants to amuse you. I hit the 2 packets of sour seeds in front of each other, but it seemed like a rain of meat. Jingtu was furious, and 2 angry auras rushed from the bottom of his feet to the top door. The fire of ignorance in his heart was so blazing that he couldn't hold it down. He grabbed a sharp boning knife from the meat table and jumped down from the ground. Lu Tiha had already started walking on the street. Among the neighbors and about a dozen Hua family members, whoever dared to come forward to persuade me. People passing by on both sides stood still, and the waiter at the shop was also stunned. Jingtu held the knife in his right hand and came to grab Luda with his left hand. Lu Tiha held down his left hand and hurried in. Wang was kicked to the lower abdomen and knocked down on the street. Luda took another step forward, stepped on his chest, raised his fist as big as a vinegar bowl, looked at Jingtu and said, the Sa family has joined the old man, Mr. Lu. To be an honest envoy of the 5 routes of Guanxi is not in vain to be called Guanxi Zhen. You are a butcher who sells meat, a dog-like person, also known as Zhen Guanxi. How did you deceive Jin Suilian? It only took 1 punch. The blow was right on the nose, causing blood to spurt out. The nose was crooked to one side, but it was like opening a soy sauce shop. Salty, sour, and spicy, everything came out. Jingtu couldn't get up, so he threw the sharp knife aside. He just yelled, good fight. Luda scolded, straight bitch. How dare you respond? He raised his fist and punched the eye socket with a single blow, causing the eyelid to crack and black beads to burst out. It also seems to have opened a colorful silk shop, red. The black ones and the crimson ones are about to come out. People watching on both sides were afraid of Lu Tiha, who dared to come forward to persuade him. Jingtu should not beg for mercy. Luda shouted, hey! You are a broken man, if you fight me till the end. The Sa family will spare you. How can you ask me to beg for mercy, but Seijia won't spare you. Another punch. The sun was shining brightly, but it seemed to be a dojo filled with water and land, chimes, cymbals, and cymbals all sounded together. Luda looked at it. I saw Jing-tu standing on the ground, with only the air coming out of his mouth and no air coming in, unable to move. Lu Tiha pretended to say, "You are cheating yourself to death, Seijia will beat you again." His face gradually changed, Luda thought. I just wanted to give this guy a good beating, not to kill him with 3 punches. The family is facing a lawsuit and there is no one to deliver food, so it is better to leave as soon as possible. He walked away, turned around and pointed at Jing-tu's corpse and said, "You cheated your death. Seijia, and you will take your time to understand." He cursed at one end and strode away at the other. Who among the neighbors and Jing-tu's family dared to come forward and stop him? Lu Tiha returned to the lower house and hurriedly rolled up some clothes. I have a lot of money, but I have thrown away my old clothes and heavy ones. He picked up a short stick that reached his eyebrows and ran out of the south gate, a puff of smoke left. Let's say that everyone in Jing-tu's family died after being rescued for half a day. Neighbors, young and old, came to the state government office to complain. The Yin of the Xinjiang prefecture was promoted to the office, received the petition, read it, and said, "The Luda family is under the jurisdiction of the Jinglu prefecture." Neighbors, young and old, came to the state government office to complain. The Yin of the Xinjiang prefecture was promoted to the office, received the petition, read it, and said, "The Luda family is under the jurisdiction of the Jinglu prefecture." He did not dare to go straight to capture the murderous body without authorization. The governor immediately got on the sedan chair and came to the front of the Jinglu mansion. After getting off the sedan, the gate sergeant went in to report. After hearing the briefing, "Please go to the hall and salute the governor." Jing Lu asked, "Where did he come from?" Fu Yin reported, "Xiangong Haojiao learned that Ruda was under the jurisdiction of the government. He punched Jing-tu to death for no reason. I have never reported it to my husband, and I dare not catch the murderer without authorization." Jing Lu was surprised when he heard about it, and thought to himself, although this Ruda is good at martial arts, he just has a rough personality. How can I protect someone's life this time? He must be taught to ask questions. Jing Lu returned to Fu Yin and said, "This man Ruda was originally an officer of my father's old Jing Lu department. Because I have no one to help me here. Call him to do the bidding. Since he has committed a crime involving human life, you can question him according to the law. If the confession is clear and the crime has been decided, my father must be informed before he can make a decision. I'm afraid that when my father wants this person in the future, he won't look good." Fu Yin reported. After the lower officials asked about the reason, Hexing Shen reported to the old manager, Mr. Xiang Gong, before he dared to terminate the dispatch. The governor resigned and went out to the front of the mansion. After getting on the sedan chair, he returned to the state government office and sat down in the hall. Then he called the arresting envoy that day to take down the documents and capture the prisoner Ruda. At that time, Wang Zhan received the official document and was about to bring about 20 officials. Go to Ludi's headquarters. I saw the owner of the house saying, "I just picked up some packages, picked up the stick, and went out." The villain just said that he was on a mission, but he didn't dare to ask him. After Wang Zhuanjun heard this, he opened the door of his room and took a look. There were only some old clothes and quilts lying inside. Wang Zhuan took the owner of the house with him and followed him from east to west, from the south of the state to the north of the state, but he couldn't find him. The king observed that he captured 2 more neighbors and their owners, and went to the state government office with them to reply, Lu Tiha is on the run for fear of his crime, and he doesn't know where he is going. The only thing he found is that the owner and his neighbors are here. When the governor saw it, he said, and taught him something. Under supervision. On the one hand, he taught and gathered Jingtu's family, neighbors and friends, ordered them to be pedestrians, paid homage to the local officials, stood in the square, and checked again and again. Jingtu's family prepared their own coffin for burial and sent it to the temple. One side is folded into a copy, and the other side is used to arrest the murderer with a stick. The plaintiff was rescued and brought home. The neighbor's staff failed to save him. The owner of the house and his neighbor failed to save him. Ruda is on the run. A whole sea was opened to capture documents, and they were pursued everywhere. He offered a reward of 1,000 guan, wrote down Ruda's address, drew pictures of him, and hung them up everywhere. A group of people were waiting to be released. Relatives of Jingtu's family performed filial piety on their own. Not a problem. Let's say that Luda left Weizhou and fled east and west, but it was like a lone goose that had lost its flock flew alone into the sky while the moon was bright. A live fish that slipped through the net took advantage of the current to turn over and jump in the surf. There is no distinction between near and far, no regard for high or low. The heart is busy and knocks down pedestrians, and the feet are as fast as a horse in battle. This Lu Tiha was as busy as a bereaved dog and as anxious as a fish that slipped through the net, passing through several state capitals. It's exactly this: don't avoid the road to escape, and you will feel at home wherever you go. Since ancient times, there have been several examples. When hungry, one does not choose food. When cold, one does not choose clothes. When one is anxious, one does not choose a road. When one is poor, one does not choose a wife. Ruda panicked and rushed to escape, not knowing where to go. I walked in a daze for more than half a month. On the way, I came to Yanmen County, Daizhou. On the way, I came to Yanmen County, Daizhou. When I entered the city, I saw that the market was bustling with people, cars and horses galloping, and 120 shops doing business. All kinds of goods were available, and they were neatly arranged. Although it is a county seat, better than the state capital. While Lu Tiha was walking, he saw a group of people gathered around the intersection to look at the list. But see. Put your shoulders on your back, your neck and your head. There is no distinction between the wise and the foolish, and it is difficult to distinguish the noble from the humble. Zhang San is stupid and fat. The illiterate person just shakes his head. Li Si is short and stomps on others. The white-headed old man has a walking stick and a mustache, but the scholar with green sideburns has copied the entries in the study room. The conduct is always Xiaohe's method, and every sentence is followed according to the law. Ruda saw people looking at the list, crowded at the crossroads, and hiding in the bushes to listen. Ruda saw people looking at the list, crowded at the crossroads, and hiding in the bushes to listen. Ruda was illiterate, and he could only hear the people reading, Yanmen County, Daizhou. According to the command of Taiyuan Prefecture, Si Gai Quan Weizhou writing, captured and killed Ruda, the prisoner of Jingtu, and that was under the jurisdiction of Jinglu Prefecture. If someone stays at home and eats, he is guilty of the same crime as the prisoner. If someone comes to capture you, or first report to the official and pay a reward of 1,000 guanwen. Just when Lu Tiha heard that, he heard someone behind him shouting, "Brother Zhang, why are you here? Hold me around the waist and pull me straight towards the county." Not that this person saw it, dragged him backwards and forwards, and taught him. Rudiha shaved off his hair, cut off his mustache, changed the name of the murderer, and killed all the Buddhas and Arhats in anger. The Zen stick of direct teaching opens a dangerous path. Use the sword to kill all the unjust people. After all, who is holding Lu Tiha down? Let's hear the explanation next time. In the 4th chapter, Zhao Yuanwei rebuilt Wenshu Monastery, and Lu Zhishan made a big fuss in Mount Wutai. The poem says, he fled to Daizhou to escape disaster. Beneficiaries are happy to meet each other. It's just because the legal net is heavily laid, and we must cultivate it well towards Buddhism. Meditate and practice meditation to seek liberation, and spend the spring and autumn with simple meals and tea. His fruitful world conditions will be fulfilled in his year, so that he can travel to the Amitabha kingdom. By the way, when Lu Tiha turned around to look, the person dragging him was none other than Mr. Jean, who had been rescued at the Weizhou restaurant. The old man dragged Lu to a quiet place and said, "My benefactor, you are so bold. Seeing that there is a notice clearly posted, offering a reward of 1,000 guan to catch you, why do you go to see the notice?" Seeing that there is a notice clearly posted, offering a reward of 1,000 guan to catch you, why do you go to see the notice? If the old man hadn't met him, he wouldn't have been taken by the malefactors. It is written on the list that you are of the same age and appearance. Lu De said, "The Sa family will tell you the truth, because you went back to the Zhuangyuan bridge that day, you were facing Jing too, and you were beaten to death by the Sa family with 3 punches. So you were on the run, bumped into 4 or 5 people everywhere. 10 days. Don't want to come here. Why didn't you go back to Tokyo and come here?" "My benefactor," said old Jean, "since I was saved by my benefactor, the old man found a car and wanted to go back to Tokyo, but he was afraid that this guy would come. There was no benefactor there to rescue him, so he did not go to Tokyo. Looking north along the way, I met an ancient neighbor of the capital who came here to do business, so he brought the old man and his son here. It's a shame to kill him." She worked as a matchmaker with the old man's daughter, befriended a wealthy man in the area, Zhao Yuanwei, and raised her as a foreigner. She had plenty of food and clothing, all because of her benefactor. My daughter often expresses her great kindness to him. The man also liked to use spears and sticks, and often said, "How can I meet my benefactor? I wonder how I can hook you up." The man also liked to use spears and sticks, and often said, "How can I meet my benefactor? I wonder how I can hook you up." Invite the benefactor to your home and discuss it again in a few days. Lu Tiha and Jean Lao couldn't walk for half a mile. When they reached the door, they saw the old man lifting the curtain and shouting, "My son, the great benefactor is here." The girl, dressed in heavy makeup, came out and invited Lu Tiha. Deju sat in the middle. Inserting the candle also seemed to have prayed 6 times and said, "If it weren't for the benefactor's help, how could I have been here today?" When Ruda looked at the woman, she had a normal charm, which was different from before. But see. The golden hairpin is inserted at an angle to cover up the dark clouds. The green sleeves are skillfully cut. Light Krueshua. The mouth of the cherry is slightly reddish, and the spring bamboo shoots are tender and tender. Her waist is slender and graceful, her green skirt reveals golden lotuses, her body is light, and her red opera embroidered jacket is more suitable for a jade body. The face is covered with delicate flowers in March, and the eyebrows are brushed with tender willows in early spring. The fragrant skin flutters against the moon on the Yao Yao platform, and the green temples cage the pine trees and shine clouds. The fragrant skin flutters against the moon on the Yao Yao platform, and the green temples cage the pine trees and shine clouds. After the woman bowed, she asked Lu Ticha, my benefactor, please go upstairs and have a seat. Luda said, there is no need to suffer, I will go to Sajia. Jean Lao then said, my benefactor is here. If you are willing to teach me, just go. The old man took the package and asked to sit upstairs. The old man said, my son will sit with the benefactor and I will make arrangements. Ruda said, no need to worry about anything, just do as you please. The old man said, it is difficult to repay the kindness of Tiha with death. It is not worth mentioning the rough food but the taste. The woman left Luda sitting on the floor upstairs. Old Jean came down and called the new servant in the family. While the maid was lighting the fire, the old man and the boy went out to the street and returned home after buying some fresh fish, tender chickens, stuffed geese, fat bream, and fresh fruits. While I was opening the wine, I was putting away the vegetables, which had already been laid out. Bring it upstairs. Put down 3 lamps and 3 pairs of chopsticks on the spring platform, and spread vegetables, fruits, rice and other things. The maid filled the silver jug with wine, and the son and father took turns filling it. Jean Lao fell to the ground and bowed. Lu Tiha said, old man, how can I salute so shamelessly? Kill me. Mr. Jean said, my benefactor, I came here for the first time the day before yesterday. I wrote a red card, burned a stick of incense every day, and the father and son paid homage to each other. Today my benefactor is here in person, how can I not worship him? Ruda said, but it's hard for you to be so determined. The 3 of them drank slowly, and it was almost late when they heard a fight starting downstairs. Lu Tiha opened the window to look at the scene. I saw only 30 or 20 people downstairs, each holding a white wooden stick, and they were all shouting, bring it down. A man in the crowd was riding a horse, shouting, get rid of this thief. Ruda, seeing that it was not the boss, he picked up the stool. Fight him down from upstairs. Mr. Jean quickly clapped his hands and shouted, don't do anything. The old man rushed downstairs to the horseman's side and said a few words. The official laughed. Then he dispersed the 20 or 30 people and went their separate ways. The official dismounted and went inside. I asked Lu Tiha to come. The official turned over and bowed. It is better to be famous than to meet, and to meet is worse than to be famous. The righteous man Tiha received the gift. Ruda then asked old Jean, who is this official? We don't know each other, why do we come to visit SAS family? The old man said, this is my son's official Zhao Yuanwei. But then he only said that the old man had invited the gentleman's son to have wine upstairs, so he attracted the villagers to fight. The old man said he knew it and just drank it away. Luda said, I see, weird members are no exception. Zhao then invited Lu Tiha to sit upstairs while Mr. Jean rearranged the dishes and prepared wine and food for them. Zhao Yuanwei asked Luda to sit down on the ground. Luda said, how dare you, sa family? Yuanwei said, let's talk about the courtesy of showing respect to my younger brother. Duowen Tiha is such a heroic figure, and it is a blessing to meet him today. Luda said, Sajia is a rough man, and he has committed a crime that deserves death. If he is a member of the Meng family, he will not abandon his poverty and humbleness, and we will become acquaintances. But if there is any use for me, I will go with you. Zhao Yuanwei was overjoyed and asked about the killing of Jing Tuesday. They chatted some gossip and competed with each other about their marksmanship. After drinking for half the night, they all had a rest. At dawn the next day, Zhao Yuanwei said, "This place may not be safe and convenient. Could you please ask me to stay in our village for a while?" Ruda asked, "Where is your village?" The member said, "It's more than 10 miles away from here, and the place name is Qibao Village." Ruda said, "The best." Yuanwei first sent someone to the village and asked for 2 horses to be brought. Before noon, the horse has arrived. The officer then asked Lu Tiha to mount his horse and asked the banker to carry his luggage. Lu Daxiang resigned from Mr. Jin and his son. He got on his horse with Zhao Yuanwei and rode together. They chatted with each other on the road and came to Qibao village. Not long after, I arrived early to dismount in front of the village. Zhao Yuanwei took Lu Da's hand and walked to the thatched cottage where they sat separately. On the one hand, they killed the sheep and served them wine, and in the evening they cleaned up the guest rooms and rested. On the one hand, they killed the sheep and served them wine, and in the evening they cleaned up the guest rooms and rested. The next day, wine and food tubes were prepared. Lu Da said, "I love you wrongly. How can the Sa family repay you?" Zhao said, "We are all brothers within the 4 seas. How to say something in return? Say no more to this." Ruda stayed at the village outside Zhaoyuan for 5 or 7 days from then on. Suddenly one day, the 2 of them were sitting and talking in the academy when they saw Mr. Jin rushing to the village. I went straight to the academy and met Zhao Yuanwei and Lu Tiha. Seeing no one there, he said to Ruda, "My benefactor, it's not that this old man is too caring. It's because he was my benefactor. The old man invited me to have a drink upstairs the day before yesterday. I mistakenly heard someone's report. He led the dealers to make trouble among the neighbors, but then dispersed. Everyone was a little suspicious and told them to leave. Yesterday, 3 or 4 businessmen came to inquire about the neighbors, fearing that they might come to the village to arrest their benefactor. What if there are some mistakes?" Luda said, "When you are in trouble, you can go home alone." Zhao Yuan said, "If I keep Tiha here, I'm afraid the mountains are high and the water is low, and I will feel resentful. If I don't stay here, I'm afraid. Many does are not pretty." Zhao, however, had a point. He taught Tiha that everything was safe and he could take refuge there, but he was afraid that Tiha would not do so. Many does are not pretty. Zhao, however, had a point. He taught Tiha that everything was safe and he could take refuge there, but he was afraid that Tiha would not do so. Luda said, "Sagia is a person who deserves to die, but it's easy to find a place to live. I refuse to do anything." Member Zhao said, "If so, it would be best. There is a mountain more than 30 miles away from here, called Mount Wutai. There is a Wenshu monastery on the mountain, which was originally the dojo of Manjusri Bodhisattva. There are 500 to 700 monks in the temple. Elder Zhizhen is my brother. My ancestor once left money in the temple, and it was Tanyu, the benefactor of the temple. I once promised to ordain a monk in the temple, and I have bought a 5-flower ultimatum here. It's just that no one close to him has fulfilled this wish. If this is the case, Zhao will prepare all the expenses. Are you really willing to become a monk?" Ruda thought, "When I am about to go now, where will I go? It's better to just stick to this road." He said, "Since the members are the masters, the Sa family would rather become a monk and rely on the members to take care of them. It was agreed at that time that we would spend the whole night packing up the clothes, all the gifts, and arranging the burdens. When I got up early the next day, I asked the banker to pick one. The two of them took the road to look at Mount Wutai. After the Chenpai, we arrived at the foot of the mountain early. When Lu Tiha looked at Mount Wutai, he saw that it was indeed a huge mountain. When I got up early the next day, I asked the banker to pick one. The two of them took the road to look at Mount Wutai. After the Chenpai, we arrived at the foot of the mountain early. When Lu Tiha looked at Mount Wutai, he saw that it was indeed a huge mountain. But see! Clouds cover the top of the mountain, and the sun turns around the mountainside. The high peaks seem to be connected to the Tianguan Pass, and the uneven peaks invade the Han Dynasty. The flowers and trees in front of the rock are dancing in the spring breeze and exhaling their fragrance. The wisteria at the entrance of the cave is covered with tender threads hanging upside down in the rain. Feiyin Waterfall, the shadow of the Milky Way, is soaked in the cold moonlight. The cliffs are covered with pines. The iron horn bell shakes the dragon's tail. It should be dyed by rubbing indigo and made of natural artificial jade. The root plate presses down 3,000 feet, and its momentum swallows up 400 states. Zhao Yuanwei and Lu Tiha came up the mountain in sedans. On the one hand, he sent the banker to report. Before arriving at the temples Zhongdu Temple and Jian Temple had already come out to greet him. The two got off the sedan and went to sit in the pavilion outside the mountain gate. Elder Zhizhen in the temple learned that he led the chief minister and waiters. Come out of the mountain gate to greet you. Zhao Yuanwei and Lu Da saluted forward, and the true elder inquired and said, "It's not easy for the donor to travel far away." Zhao Yuanwei replied, "There are some small matters, so I came here to express my gratitude." The true elder said, "And please invite the abbot to have tea." Zhao Yuan walked forward, with Ruda following behind. Look at the Manjushri temple, it is indeed a great temple. But here you see. The mountain gate invades the steep mountains, and the Buddhist hall is connected to the blue clouds. The bell tower is connected to the moon grotto. The peaks and mountains of the Jing Pavilion are facing each other. There is a spring in the Xiangji kitchen, and the monk's dormitory is surrounded by mist. The old monk and abbot were beside the bullfight, and the Zen monks were in the mist in the sutra hall. The white-faced ape always offers fruits and knocks wooden fish out of strange rocks. Yellow-spotted deer hold flowers in their hands every day and make offerings to the golden Buddha to the treasure hall. Yellow-spotted deer hold flowers in their hands every day and make offerings to the golden Buddha to the treasure hall. The 7-story pagoda receives Dan Shao, and the eternal holy monks come to the temple. At that time, the real elder asked Zhao Yuan to go to the abbot and Lu Da. The elder invites the members to sit at the guest table facing away from the guests. Ruda then went down to sit on the Zen chair. The member called Ruda and whispered in his ear, "You come here to become a monk, how can you sit on the ground in front of the elder?" Ruda said, "It's not a waste to spread the family." He stood up and stood under the shoulder of the member. "The first seat in front of you." The Vina, the waiter, the supervisor of the temple, the capital temple, the acquaintance, and the secretary lined up the east and west teams in order. The villagers settled the sedan chair, and together they brought the boxes to the abbot and placed them in front of them. The elder asked, "Why do you bring another gift?" "There are many places in the temple that are dedicated to Tanyu." Zhao Yuan said, "These small gifts are not enough to express gratitude." The Taoist priest and the traveling boy went away. Zhao Yuanwei stood up and said, "I have something to say to the great monk in the hall. Zhao has an old wish." A monk named Su Sha was in Changsha, and he already had a book of ultimatums and lyrics, but he has not yet shaved off his hair. Now there is this cousin, whose surname is Lu and whose name is Da. He was born in the military. Because he saw the hardships in the world, he was willing to abandon the secular world and become a monk. Collected by Elder Wan Wang. With mercy and compassion, I saw that Zhao had a thin face and shaved his head to become a monk. As soon as it is used, the young man should prepare himself. I hope the elder will succeed. Fortunately. The elder saw this and replied, "This matter is due to the glorious old monk's mountain gate. It's easy. Please have tea." I saw a traveling boy bringing out tea. How could I know the benefits of that cup of tea? There is a poem to prove it. The golden buds of the jade pistil are really exquisite, and the monks made them with great skill. The fragrant cloud inside the rabbit hair cup is white, and the eyes of crabs are white. Thin waves in the soup. Fight the sleep demon away from the pillow and add fresh air to the skin. Immortal tea is grown in Taoyuan, and is not allowed to move to the imperial capital. Elder Zhen had tea with everyone except member Zhao and collected the trays. The true elder then calls the leader. Vina discussed how to ordain this man, and assigned him to the supervising monastery and the capital monastery to arrange a fast. The leader went to discuss with the monks and said, "This man doesn't look like a monk. His eyes look like those of a thief." The monks said, "Knowing guests. You go and invite the guests to sit on the floor while we argue with the elders." Zhika came out and invited Zhao Yuanwei and Luda to sit on the floor in the guest house. The monks at the head of the table reported to the elders, but this man who is going to become a monk is described as ugly. If he has a fierce and stubborn appearance, he should not be shaved, for fear that it will affect the Sandmen in the long run. The elder said, "He is the brother of Tanyu, member of the Zhao family. How can we avoid his reputation? Don't be suspicious, everyone, wait for me to take a look." After burning a stick of incense, the elder got on the Zen chair and sat cross-legged, recited a mantra, and entered meditation. After a stick of incense passed by, he came back and said to the monks, "I just want to ordain him. This man is worthy of the stars in the sky and has an upright heart. Although he is fierce and stubborn at the moment, and his destiny is mixed, he will eventually become pure and achieve extraordinary results. None of you can compare with him. Remember my words and don't be pushed back." The leader said, "The elder is just protecting his shortcomings. We have no choice but to follow him. Not admonishing is not the case." He was disobedient. The elder asked Zhao Yuanwei to prepare fasting food, and asked Zhao Yuanwei to wait for the abbot to join him for fasting. After fasting, the superintendent of the temple made a bill. Zhao Yuanwei took out silver coins and taught people to buy materials, while making monks' shoes, monks' clothes, monks' hats, etc. in the temple. Kasayas and worship utensils. It was complete in a day or two. The elder chose an auspicious day, rang the bell, beat the Dharma drum, and gathered the people in the Dharma hall. There were 500 to 600 monks in neat order, all wearing cassocks. They all went to the Dharma's throne and put their palms together to salute. They were divided into 2 groups. Zhao Yuan went outside to take out the silver ingots, gifts, and incense, and bowed before the Dharma's throne. After expressing his love and exhortation, Xingtong led Lu to the Dharma's throne. Wei Na taught Ruda to remove the scarf, divide her hair into 9 buns, and then comb it out. The man with clean hair first shaved his whole body, but before shaving his mustache, Ruda said, "You might as well keep these and spread them around your home." The monks couldn't help laughing. The true elder said on the Dharma throne, "Everyone, listen to the verse." He read, "Leave no blade of grass, the 6 roots are pure. Shave it with you to avoid quarrels." The elder finished reciting the verse and shouted, "Hey, shave them all off." People with clean hair can shave off all their hair with just one blow. The first one presents the certificate of ultimatum to the Dharma throne and asks the elder to bestow the Dharma name. The elder took the empty-headed ultimatum and said a verse. "A little inspiration is worth 1,000 gold. The Dharma is vast, and the name given is profound." The elder has finished giving the name and handed over the ultimatum. The secretary monk filled out the ultimatum and gave it to Lu Zhishan for acceptance. The elder also gave him Dharma robes and cassocks, and his teachings and wisdom were deeply worn. The supervisor of the temple led him to the front of the Dharma throne. The elder rubbed his head with his hand and said, "First, we must take refuge in the 3 jewels, secondly, we must take refuge in the Buddha's Dharma, and thirdly, we must take refuge in honoring our teachers and friends. These are the 3 precepts. The 5 precepts are, first, do not kill, second, do not steal, and third, do not engage in sexual misconduct. Fourth, don't be greedy for wine, and fifth, don't lie." Zhishan didn't know the words yes and no promised by Zen Buddhism, but he said, "Sejia remembers it." All the monks laughed. After the reception, Yuan Zhao invited the monks to sit down in the cloud hall. Burn incense and make offerings. The ministerial monks, big and small, all have gifts to congratulate. The capital temple led Lu Zhishan to pay homage to all his brothers and sisters, and then to the jungle behind the monk hall to choose a place. Burn incense and make offerings. The ministerial monks, big and small, all have gifts to congratulate. The capital temple led Lu Zhishan to pay homage to all his brothers and sisters, and then to the jungle behind the monk hall to choose a place to sit in a Buddhist sanctuary. Nothing happened that night. The next day, Member Zhao wants to go back and say goodbye. The elder couldn't stay, so he finished his morning fast and sent all the monks out of the mountain gate. Zhao Yuanwei put his palms together and said, "The elders are above, all the masters are here, be merciful in everything. My younger brother Zhishan is a stupid and straight man. If you don't show proper etiquette in the morning and evening, if you use profane words, if you violate the rules by mistake, you will be forgiven for looking down at Zhao." The elder said, "Don't worry, outsider. The old monk will gradually teach him how to chant sutras, chant mantras, conduct Taoist meditation, and practice meditation." The member said, "You will be rewarded later." Huan Zhishen, who was among the crowd, went to the foot of the pine tree and said in a low voice, "Xian brother, you are no longer as good as usual from now on. You should be careful in everything, and don't rely on others. If not, it would be difficult to meet. Take care, take care. I'll have my clothes delivered in the morning and evening." Zhishan said, "If you don't ask for your brother's advice, everyone in the Sa family will comply." At that time, Yuan Zhao, the foreign minister, resigned as an elder, said goodbye to everyone, got on the sedan, led the villagers, picked up an empty sedan, and took the box. Went down the mountain and went home. At that time, the elder himself led the monks back to the temple. It was said that Lu Zhishan returned to the Zen bed in the jungle Buddhist site, threw his head down and fell asleep. Two Zen monks on the upper and lower shoulders pushed him up and said, "No, if you want to become a monk, why not learn to sit in meditation?" Jishin said, "You are sleeping alone at home, what are you doing?" Chanhezi said, "How good." Jishin said with bare sleeves, "You can eat the tuanyu all over the house, how good it is." Chanhezi said, "But it is suffering." Jishin said, "The turtle has a big belly, is fat and sweet, and is delicious. How can it be bitter?" Shangxia, Jianchan and Zi did not pick him up, so he fell asleep by himself. The next day, I was going to tell the elder that Jishin was so rude. The leader advised. The old man said that he later achieved extraordinary results, and none of us were as good as him. We were just protecting our shortcomings. There is nothing you can do, don't be on the same level as him. Chanhezi went away. Jishin saw that no one was talking about him, so he turned around at night. With the cross drawn across the body, he fell asleep on the Zen bed. His nose sounded like thunder at night. If he wanted to get up to clean his hands, he would make a fuss and urinate and defecate all over the place behind the Buddhist temple. With the cross drawn across the body, he fell asleep on the Zen bed. His nose sounded like thunder at night. If he wanted to get up to clean his hands, he would make a fuss and urinate and defecate all over the place behind the Buddhist temple. The waiter reported to the elder, "A man of deep wisdom is prone to being rude. They are not as decent as any monks. How can such people be found in the jungle?" The elder shouted, "Nonsense. Let's look at Tanyu's face. He will definitely change later." No one dared to say it since then. Lu Jishin was in Wutai Mountain Temple. Unconsciously, it took 4 or 5 months. When the weather is early in winter, I will be deep in wisdom and think quietly for a long time. With his eyesight that day, Jishin put on a soap cloth jacket, a crow-green sash, put on monk shoes, and strode out of the mountain gate. Xian walked to the pavilion in the middle of the mountain, sat on the goose-necked lazy stool, and thought, "What a dry bird. I usually drink and eat meat every day, but now I have taught the Sa family to become a monk, and I am so hungry." In the past few days, Zhao Yuanwei has not asked anyone to bring anything to eat with Sa's family, and there is no bird in his mouth. How can he get some wine to eat sooner or later? Just when I was about to drink, I saw a man in the distance, carrying a pair of buckets, singing up the mountain. There was a bucket lid on it, and the man came up singing with a spinner in his hand. Singing. On the battlefield in front of Juli Mountain, the shepherd boy found an old sword and gun, carrying a pair of buckets, singing up the mountain. There was a bucket lid on it, and the man came up singing with a spinner in his hand. Singing. It's like Yu Ji saying goodbye to the overlord. Lu Jishin saw the man coming up with a bucket and sitting on the pavilion. He also saw this man coming to the pavilion to rest on the bucket. Jishin said, "That man, what's in that bucket of yours?" The man said, "Good wine." Jishin said, "How much does a barrel cost?" The man said, "Monk, are you really playing tricks?" Jishin said, "What are you playing with, Seijiya?" said the man. "I'll pick up this wine. It is only sold to the Taoist priests of the temple, the bearers of the sedan chair, and the old men who make daily meals. The elder of the temple had a decree, but we sold it to the monks and ate it. We were all punished by the elder, our money was taken away, and we were kicked out of the house. We see the capital of this temple and the houses of our temple. How dare we sell it to you for food?" Jishin said, "You really don't want to sell it?" The man said, I won't sell you even if you kill me. Zhishan said, the Sa family won't kill you either. Just ask you to buy wine and food. The man saw that he was not the leader, so he picked up the pole and left. Zhishan came down from the pavilion, took the pole with both hands, and kicked it with one foot. The man made a pile with his hands covered and squatted on the ground. No more than half a day. Zhishan carried the 2 barrels of wine on the pavilion, picked up the rotors from the ground, opened the lids of the barrels, and just scooped out the cold wine to eat. When there was no movement, 2 barrels of wine were consumed and 1 barrel was eaten. Zhishan said, Man, come to the temple tomorrow to ask for money. The man had just stopped feeling pain, but he was afraid that the elders in the temple would find out that he had ruined his food and clothing, so he had to swallow his anger and dare to ask for money. He divided the wine into 2 halves, made a bucket, and took the spinner. Fei also seemed to be going down the mountain. It's just that Lu Zhishan sat on the pavilion for a long time, while the wine came up and went down to the pavilion. He sat by the roots of the pine tree for another half a day, and the wine came up more and more. Zhishan took off his shirt. He wrapped his sleeves around his waist, exposed the flower embroidery on his back, and went up the mountain with his arms fanned. When I looked at it, I saw. He was top-heavy and his face was red with envy at the bright moon. He leaned forward and backward, and swayed this way and that in the breeze. He staggered up the mountain like a crane in the wind. He staggered back to the temple like a turtle emerging from the water. I once kicked the dragon in the stream with my toes, and beat the tiger at the foot of the mountain with my fists. Designate the heavenly palace, scold Marshal Tianping. Step into the underworld. Get the judge. The naked and drunken devil, the flower monk who sets fire to kill people. Lu Zhishan looked around and came to the mountain gate. He saw the 2 gates from a distance, and came to the mountain gate with a bamboo grate. Lu Zhishan stopped him and shouted, You are a disciple of Buddhism, why did you come up the mountain so drunk? You must not be blind, and you have also seen the notice posted in the treasury. Any monk who violates the precepts and eats alcohol will be beaten with 40 bamboo grates. He was driven out of the temple. Rumenzi allowed the drunken monk to enter the temple and ate him 10 times. Go down the mountain quickly, I'll spare you a few bamboo grates. Lu Zhishan first became a monk, but the second time he didn't change his old nature. He opened his eyes and cursed, Straight bitch. If you 2 want to fight each other, I will fight with you. Seeing that the momentum was not good, one of the disciples flew into Baojian temple, and the other dragged a bamboo grate to stop him. Zhishan passed it with his hand and spread his fingers. There was only 1 slap to the face, which made him stagger. But while he was struggling, Zhishan punched him again and knocked him down at the foot of the mountain gate, just crying out in pain. Zhishan said, Sagia, spare your life. He staggered into the temple. After hearing the report from the disciples, the prison guard summoned the old man, the fireman, and the bearers of the sedan chair in the straight hall, and 30 or 20 people, each holding a white wooden stick, snatched them out from the west corridor, so that they could meet Zhishan. Zhishan saw it and roared. But like a thunderbolt from his mouth, he strode in. At first, everyone didn't know that he was an officer. Later, when they saw that he was acting violently, they hurriedly retreated into the Tibetan hall and closed the bright door. Zhishan rushed up, punched and kicked, and opened the door. 30 or 20 people were all driven away. Grabbed the stick and beat him out of the palace. The supervisor hurriedly informed the elders. The elder heard this and hurriedly summoned 3 or 5 waiters. He came straight to the corridor and shouted, "Zhishan must not be rude." Although Zhishan was drunk, he recognized the elder. He put aside his stick and came forward to ask for information. He pointed to the corridor and said to the elder, "Zhishan has eaten 2 bowls of wine." He didn't provoke them, so he invited people to come and destroy the house. The elder said, "Look at me, go to bed soon, but I will say tomorrow." Lu Zhishan said, "I don't care about the elders. I will beat those bald donkeys of yours to death." The elder asked the waiter to help Zhishan to the Zen bed, whereupon he fell down and fell asleep quickly. Many ministering monks gathered around the elder and said, "Xiangri's disciples came here to admonish the elder. How are you doing today?" This kind of wild cat is tolerated in this temple, which violates the rules. The elder said, "Although it is a bit boring now, it will become a positive result later. There is no choice but to look at Zhao Yuan's face and forgive him for this. I'll just ask him to bury his grievance tomorrow." The monks sneered and said, "What an ignorant elder.